what was Starburst's original name? 215-263 WMMR. We will go to Danielle to see if we can get an answer. Hi there, Danielle.
Hi.
All right, Danielle, what did they originally call Starburst?
Opal fruit.
A terrible name, but yes. Opal fruit. Hang on, Danielle. We're going to give you a 4-pack of tickets to the Star Wars game Saturday, November 18th. 1 o'clock, Flyers taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. You can get your tickets at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. All right, we got stories, folks. We're going to start with this. Number one, the longest actor strike in history is finally coming to an end. SAG-AFTRA reached a tentative agreement with studios on Wednesday after 118 days on strike. Fran Drescher wrote on Instagram, "We did it. The $1 billion+ deal, 3 times the last contract. New ground was broke everywhere. Thank you, SAG-AFTRA members, for hanging in and holding out for this historic deal."
So I was reading somebody assessing this, Preston, and the past year and a half for Hollywood, coming out of COVID and then going into this.
Yeah.
And they're saying the industry will has shifted completely, and there will be no way back to what it was before. It doesn't mean it won't morph into something that's viable or good.
Yeah.
But this is, they say, the biggest shift in the movie industry ever.
So, do any of you guys watch Morning Show? I know, Nick, you do.
I watched the first season.
All right, so the very first episode of this last season, Billy Crudup's character, it says something that, like, it kind of, like, shook me and startled me, but he's talking about the news and where everything's headed, and he's like, you know, essentially in 5 years, we're all going to be, like, immersed in what is entertaining us, right? So, like, we're going to be in that universe. So, like, whatever you think it, you know now.
But like virtual reality?
Virtual reality.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, I think it's going to, because right now what's hurting us is
He was
like,
Dr. Manhattan, so I trust him.
yeah, but no, it's cumbersome, right? Like there's giant like goggles and stuff like that. So once they figure out how to like make it a little bit more comfortable and not sweaty and all that
we're getting there.
Yeah, we are getting
absolutely.
The union's negotiating committee voted unanimously to approve the tentative deal, which will go before the SAG-AFTRA National Board on Friday, tomorrow. Following this, union members will have to ratify the agreement, which could take a few weeks. Still, the strike is set to officially end today.
This is great news because I am up for a number of major movie roles, and it's been stalled for a while.
Steve, I saw a post yesterday from Ryan Airy from Screen Crush, and he said, just wait to see how many news outlets and talk shows that the cast of the Marvels are going to be on.
They've got to cover ground. Yeah.
They have to cover so much ground, and they have a movie that's coming out tomorrow, and they haven't been able to promote any of these movies for a long time.
Yeah, and that bodes well for us because we can have more guests on now. We've had a lot of people haven't been able to come on to talk about their projects, and so we haven't had a chance to chat with them.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. Succession fans were shocked last Tuesday when one of the show stars, Alan Ruck, crashed his electric pickup truck into the side of a pizzeria in Hollywood. He previously expressed his relief that no one was killed, reportedly claimed at the scene that he didn't know what caused him to crash into Ruffalo's Pizza. And now it seems that police investigating the crash think there's something to his claims. Detectives are considering the possibility that Ruck's Rivian R1 truck may have had high-tech features that the 67-year-old actor wasn't familiar with. Although it's a theory at the moment, law enforcement is considering whether the truck's various driving modes, some of which allow it to accelerate incredibly fast, may have contributed to the crash.
I don't doubt this for a second. So I'm good with tech, and I can adapt to things pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But even from I have a car that right now, a new car that's just a couple of years more recent than the last car that I had. And the amount of stuff that you sit there and you go, what the hell does that do?
Right.
You're just shifting into gears. Like,
right.
They're buttons now.
What the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
There are two things that pop up on my dashboard, and I'm good. I'm really good with this stuff, Nick. And it does like a 20-second countdown.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Steve. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There is video footage of him like crossing the street in the truck, and like he's weaving in and out of traffic, and then he just plows right into the side of this pizzeria.
No, didn't see that.
Yeah, so Steve, here it's up on the screen in the studio, and like he has zero control of what's happening with this vehicle.
Wow.
And he ends up just plowing right into the side of it. So much so that people initially thought maybe he was drunk, but I guess he didn't have any of those. There were no symptoms.
Well, this video we're looking at, I don't know which one is his because he runs into that's him.
He
runs into a pizzeria. So responding officers bought the claims, and instead they think that the newness and potential confusing features of the brand new truck may have contributed to the incident. His truck likely had 3 different all-wheel drive systems that it could switch among. So you have dual motor, performance dual motor, and quad motor. The performance dual motor and quad motor settings offer fast acceleration, and drivers using the quad motor system can go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's fast. Electric vehicles are also known to accelerate faster than traditional combustion engine vehicles in general. So far, there's no indication that any part of the truck malfunctioned before the crash. It's not known if Ruck had the self-driving mode installed on his truck or if it was engaged, if so. But they think maybe there might be something to that.
Was his sailboat signal on, Preston?
I don't know. Kathy, you know the sailboat better than anybody.
Yeah. That was years ago. That is the oil light, Steve.
It's the oil light.
So Good Burger actor Kel Mitchell was reportedly rushed to an emergency room in Los Angeles on Tuesday. Witness told TMZ that he was conscious and alert upon arrival. The Keenan and Kel actor's illness is not yet known, but he was still receiving treatment as of Wednesday.
They're making a new movie.
Yeah, TMZ reached out to his representatives but received no comment. His social media pages are still active, but the post features promotional material for the Good Burger sequel and an upcoming appearance on Celebrity Square. So we're not really sure what's going on with him. If we find out, we'll let you know. According to Page Six, Jennifer Aniston is having an especially hard time handling the loss of Matthew Perry. This follows her father, John Aniston's death last year. A source told the outlet out of the remaining 5, Jen and Courtney are reeling the most, and Jen is probably the one who is struggling most acutely. It's a second massive loss in less than a year, with the 1-year anniversary of her dad's death just around the corner. She still hasn't fully regained her footing from that, and now this has completely knocked her off her feet.
Nick and I were just talking about her the other day, and side note to what you're talking about, but that, and Casey brought up the morning show, how good she is on that show. It's a different role for her, and she really is good at it.
Yeah, she plays an anchor named Alex Levy, and I was telling Kathy this, and I was watching the show, and I was like, man, I wouldn't want to mess with Alex Levy. And then I realized, oh, Alex really, that's not a real person. That's,
Right.
That's just a character. But it's a very different character than Rachel on Friends and some of the other stuff that she's done that's been light, and it's a terrific show. I'm a huge fan of it.
She's solid. Well, it appears the rumors are true about Jennifer Hudson and Common. The pair, who have been rumored to be dating since 2022, were spotted holding hands on Saturday as they arrived at Joe's Pub in New York City. And this news comes after the Dreamgirls actor told Gayle King on CBS Mornings that she's very happy in her current relationship. So maybe I think they'd make a nice couple.
They look like a lovely couple.
They're a lovely couple.
See if they go the distance.
The pipes on that chick
Oh, she's
can
unbelievable.
blow the walls out.
Yep. Let's see, Lori Harvey. So we hear of that couple, and we now have Lori Harvey and Damson Idris. They have confirmed they are going their separate ways.
Who the hell are those
No.
That's Steve Harvey's daughter, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Used to be with what the hell?
I know.
Yeah.
There was somebody. And I
Somebody
can't
was
remember.
famous and
And that's why I'm
probably
reporting on
lived in
this.
Wakanda.
I do not know. So they have been dating for more than a year. The pair shared a joint statement of the Hollywood Reporter on Tuesday. We are at a point in our lives where our individual paths require our full attention and dedication.
I saw an interview with Steve Harvey's mustache yesterday.
Okay.
And it was distraught. Let's just say that.
So they were just dating and they had to release a statement to
Listen,
the press?
the news is light.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
That's
Michael
it.
B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
We part ways remaining friends and nothing but love and respect for each other. And
hate her.
the time we
hate her
shared
so
together, and I
much.
hate her with all my being.
I hate her husband, her father's fat face.
She has no soul.
I hate you more than anything in this damn world.
Andy Cohen is hoping that CNN will allow him to consume alcohol again this year on New Year's Eve.
If CNN is smart, they should let them do that because they are looking for a ratings win somewhere, and people love when those two get trashed on New Year's Eve.
And he said, hopefully I will not be sneaking it. He told E! News recently, I haven't heard anything yet, but come on, they need to let us drink. It's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
He jokingly added, give the daddies some juice, referring to himself and his co-host Anderson Cooper. And this comes after Cohen called Ryan Seacrest and his production team a, quote, bunch of losers on air while ringing in 2022. And he was beating up on Journey, too, if I remember correctly. The Parnell, the lead singer.
Yeah. If it makes
Arnell, I'm sorry.
If it makes Anderson Cooper giggle, I'm all in because the way that guy laughs makes me happy.
So he later issued a public apology for the remarks that he made, saying, "I really regret saying that, and I was just stupid and drunk and feeling it." So, but he wants to do it again, so we'll see if they end up letting him.
And the last place I would want to be on New Year's Eve is Times Square.
Hell yes.
Oh my God! I think I would need heroin.
Now, if you had a cushy little, stage and your own area like these guys do, and you're broadcasting live, it might be a tad bit different. AP News reports that the theme for next year's Met Gala is Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. So that's the theme, Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. The theme is inspired by the forthcoming exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which will feature 250 pieces from the Costume Institute's permanent collection.
That wasn't last year. Was last year the famous Kim Kardashian, Marilyn Monroe?
Was that last year? It was not that long ago, definitely. And then she got in trouble because
she screwed it up.
Yeah, the dress got messed up.
You ruined it.
The star-studded event
Big ass
is set to take place on May 6th of next year.
That, to me, exemplifies the height of pomposity.
Oh, yeah.
The Met Gala.
Agreed. 2 new trailers have come out yesterday. Paramount dropped the official trailer for Mean Girls, the musical remake. Is it the musical?
It's the musical.
Okay.
Yeah.
People reports that the creator, Tina Fey, will be reprising her role as Miss Norbury from the original 2004 film alongside Tim Meadows as Principal Duvall. New cast members include Jenna Fisher, John Hamm, Busy Phillips, Renee Rapp, Angry Rice, Aliu Carvalho, and Jaquel Spivey, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. The movie will hit theaters on January 12th. Saw the trailer? Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I didn't catch any of the songs, though. They didn't reveal any.
There's very limited. There's a couple of them, so they're not jamming the thing full of songs. But I think John Hamm is the gym teacher. Looks like a winner.
It looks fun.
And Tina Fey obviously was, wrote the book, as they say. So. And they've updated it for current social media stuff.
Right.
It looks good.
Yeah. So
I hope it's good.
But I would think as a musical, you'd have lots of songs.
I know.
But
I know.
I don't know. We'll see. Also out, the Ghostbusters. It's called Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It looks good.
So this is the Jason Reitman. I didn't even notice. I assume he's directing this one.
He posted the trailer yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I like that. The first one. Did you see the first one?
Did not. No.
So they really did. It had a very Stranger Things. In fact, Finn
Wolfhard.
He's in it. So that's why. But it had a good feel, a good vibe to it. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here.
They're returning to New York City for the franchise's latest film. They released the trailer yesterday, and it shows Paul Rudd and the gang from Ghostbusters Afterlife fighting a ghost called the Death Chill. The new villain covers the city in ice in the middle of summer. And Patton Oswalt says in the trailer, for the first time in New York City's history, people froze to death in the middle of July. It'll debut in theaters on March 29th, by the way. So we'll see.
Yep.
And then one last story. In a recent interview with GQ, Jeremy Allen White from The Bear and also Shameless explained how he lost the option of starring in what he called a Marvel-y movie. A superhero-ish type of movie. He said, I had a meeting for a kind of Marvel-y movie, and I had an attitude, and I think I played it all wrong. He recalled telling the executives, tell me about why I should do your movie. And he said, this did not go over well. And he said, they were like, F you. And I was like, right on. So I think he's gone through some ego issues.
Quite possibly. I think right now they would really like to have him in anything.
Sure. Absolutely. He's going to be in that movie about the Von Erich wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Coming up down the road.
Have you seen they've gone back to making a big deal about Zac Efron's look, because he shattered his jaw. The guy, and the thing is, the guy still looks amazing.
Oh my God, he looks incredible.
He looks amazing. He just has a more fuller jawline, but you'd think he looked like, I don't want to say Gary Lauer, but he looked like, Or me, for Christ's sake. You know?
No, I know what you're saying. No, all right.
I should only look that good.
Ready for clips. Lawman Bass Reeves tells the untold story of the first black U.S. Marshal, Bass Reeves. And here, director Damian Marcano discusses the challenges of filming this series.
The state of Texas being at the top of the list, its weather conditions. Yeah, it decided what we would do when we would do it. So, it took me, I think, 5.5 months to complete 3 of these episodes. And yeah, it was just truly art. It isn't the kind of thing that you can go in and say, why aren't the stage lights working?
Lawman Bass Reeves is streaming now on Paramount Plus Prime. I've watched the first 2 episodes that they've released. It's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah, there's Dennis Quaid, Barry Pepper,
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland's in it. So they've got some star power,
Yeah.
and it's a period piece. It's really cool. So.
And I like him as an actor.
Yeah. All right, next clip. The Marvels. Captain Marvel's duties send her to an anomalous wormhole linked to a Kree revolutionary, where her powers become entangled with Ms. Marvel and her estranged niece. And in this clip, director Nia DaCosta talks about test screening and applying notes from executives.
Literally, as you get every kind of note you could possibly think about. Like you could get literally someone said, I don't like that tank top. What am I going to do about that? Literally nothing. So I think it's really like, and I think about this when I give notes, am I giving a note because I'm asking them or wanting them to do it the way I would have done it? Or am I giving a note that is improving what they actually wanted to do?
Shut up.
The Marvels is out in theaters now. I thought it opened tomorrow. Maybe there's some
usually
advanced
comes into
Thursday nights.
Thursday before. There was a screening on Tuesday. I elected to not go see that because I feel like Loki comes out today. I think the final episode of this season, and I think they dovetail together, so I want to wait.
So you want to finish Loki before you go see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Marvels do.
Yeah, I'm hearing okay things about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of the last few Marvel movies. I haven't been like, wow, horrible, and I haven't been like, wow, that's great. It's been like, it's okay.
I'm easier to please than most, I think, when it comes to this stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the composer on tomorrow. We had her on before. Laura Cartman is her name. She's
really
friends with the Giacchino family, and so Maria and Michael Giacchino are very close with Laura, and Laura's going to be zooming with us tomorrow to talk specifically about the Marvels movie because she did Captain Marvel and the score for this one.
That's nice. All right, and that is the last story in the Entertainment Report. Let's go ahead and take a break. Come back in a moment. Our buddy Joe DeRosa, who's going to be performing at the TLA on Saturday night, will be checking in with us later this morning. Gino's is stopping by with a meet and eat courtesy of our friends at Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia. We have giveaways with that and some more stuff coming up. We'll be right back.
They're in our studio, fresh from our Acme Lounge.
Yeah.
Finally, we're getting to use it.
Yeah, exactly. They have arrived in our studio via the UK, and we actually hung out with them in London. They came by our live broadcast when the Eagles were playing, and we did a few days in London, and they are in town filming for their YouTube series, and they're great people. We love them. Give some love to Joel and Leah, who are here.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Yeah. We're good. We're even happier you've used that music.
Yeah.
Of course.
Very royal.
Iconic. As soon as it came on, I was like, this is incredible.
Any American show, whenever, and this has been for decades, whenever they go to London or England, there is a stock shot of Big Ben, and that's the music that plays to show the transition. It is almost guaranteed.
They'll show a car going across Tower Bridge, and
and that's it.
The music
every
gets
time.
played.
Oh, I know where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you'll hear like Paris. You get the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah.
All the stand. Oh, here's where we are.
Yeah, every time. So listen, you guys, when did you get to the States?
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And flew into Philadelphia or New York, or where'd you go?
Yeah, Philadelphia. We got detained. That was
Yeah,
fun.
detained.
I told Casey about it. It was, we were terrified. U.S. border control. So scary.
So detained. What did they?
Well, detained might be a bit dramatic, but they took us aside. They took our passports away, took us into secondary questioning.
Oh.
They separated us. They went through all our luggage. They were asking us all these probing
Joel,
questions.
my palms are sweating as we read
I know,
it.
same.
I get it. And we're so innocent. That's
And
the problem.
they don't smile at you, right? Like
No.
there's no like, don't
Yeah.
worry, we're just gonna. It's like you think you're
something you've
The
done
thing to
something.
do,
Yeah.
and the way to deflect immediately, if you ever get in that situation, is say, we don't have any bombs.
Yeah, I've heard
And then
that.
they'll react. No, it is a weird thing, and I think a lot of people go through, I know I do. I'm always like, I know that I'm completely, there's nothing, it's clean, but
Yeah,
you're
but
like,
you're
you
nervous.
can't help it. When they
Yeah.
start pointing their attention at you, you're going to start getting nervous.
Oh, yeah. I
And
was like, Joel, we need to get our story straight. He was like, what story? we just tell the truth.
If you're not familiar with Joel and Leah, they have this YouTube series and they do a lot of comparisons to American culture and British culture, and that's where they jumped on our radar because they'll do fun things like sampling food. I watched a video this morning of you, Joel, driving in the United States for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was in Orlando,
gosh,
I
it's
think.
playing.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was. Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
listen. When we went to London, after spending a couple days, in advance, I'm like, I'm wondering if I could be able to drive here or not. And after spending a couple days, actually 5 minutes, I'm like, no.
No.
Way would I be able to? And London is a major metropolitan area, so being able to drive in, maybe I can pull it off in the country, but in a city, forget it. Man.
Really? You think you could do country roads? They are terrifying. They're
Are
so
they?
small and narrow, and you feel like everyone's going to hit you, and it's really scary.
Okay,
you know
I'll
what
just write
happens?
off the whole country.
Anytime, so years ago we'd gone over when Guinness was giving away. They used to have a promotion where they give away pubs in Ireland. Like you'd get the
Wow.
pub, you'd get the whole business. And so we went over, and I don't think we even drove then, Preston. I think Marilyn's friend drove around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always thinking of that story years ago when, remember, Matthew Broderick was over, and he was driving with, I think, Aaron, who was
Yeah.
from
Jennifer
Jennifer Grey.
Gray, yeah.
And they were on the wrong side of the road, and they collided with the family, and it was a horrible story.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, because
Yeah.
it's such a you've been driving so long here.
Yeah, you've trained your whole
my fear
life.
is I would just lapse back into the wrong
Yeah.
side.
Did you
Hang on,
like
though.
driving on the right side of the road?
It was scary,
Yeah.
and I did start driving with one foot on each pedal because I drive a manual, so an automatic. And Leah was like, "Why is it so jerky?" And she's like, "Have you got a foot on each pedal?" I was like, "Yeah."
We
so
sound like
I forgot.
so intelligent on this show.
But it was easy in the end because your roads are wider. I
Yeah.
feel like, especially in Florida, people don't get angry. There's so much road rage in the UK,
Oh,
and like
gosh, yeah.
Is
in
there?
Florida, they were just like, "Nah, you cut me up, it's fine."
It's really funny because Brits are quite polite. Well, we're kind of polite-ish, but then on
Not
the
in a car,
road, we
yeah.
have this alter ego where we feel like we can say anything behind the car.
And there
So-
probably
Yeah.
is road rage here, but just where we were in Florida,
yeah,
they
there's
were just.
definitely
No, there
road
is.
rage.
Yeah.
But I'm
Plenty.
surprised to hear that there's a lot in England. Everyone does seem. I mean, obviously, you always make these sweeping general. Everyone's so pleasant, but you're saying that's out on the road behind the wheel. It's a
Yeah.
different story.
Totally different story.
Oh.
yeah.
But you know what? It's probably not scary to you guys because you're just like, "Oh, you idiot."
Right.
Yeah.
So while you're in the area, how much time are you spending in Philadelphia and filming here?
So yeah, we have 6 days in total.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of short, but we're hoping to just do all the touristy stuff, and obviously
Okay.
we're going to try Philly cheesesteak as well. So we haven't
First
done that yet.
time.
First
Oh.
time, yeah. So
A
excited.
Philly cheesesteak, you got to try several of them.
Yeah,
Several.
all of them.
There's, it's you can't. I mean, they're all over the place. And so,
Oh, wow.
But we can point you guys in the right direction if you need some places to go to. Yeah.
When you travel, because when we came over to London, you sort of feel compelled to do the touristy
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But you don't necessarily get a taste of the city or the country when you do that. When you guys travel, do you bang out the touristy stuff and then dive a little deeper, or what's your approach?
So it's really funny. Tell them about the love thing.
Well, yeah. So everyone was banging on about the love sculpture here, and like, you need to see it. And then we got there, and it was just like this
It was just
tiny little
tiny.
love.
Yeah,
sign.
right.
we looked at it and we went, no, surely not.
Surely not.
Surely
But we
not.
do try to hit all of the touristy stuff.
Wait, so you didn't like the love statue?
We just
I
went,
thought it'd
no,
be
we've not
huge."
come halfway across the world for that. No, come on.
Like,
Make
it's all
it make
very
sense.
cute. Like, oh, it's nice. Love's great. We love love.
Oh, we
But
love love.
It's just a very small sculpture.
You're right. It's not.
It's unimpressive.
Yeah, it's not like an art masterpiece. As in, wow, how did they make
It's the
that,
word
you know?
love.
Yeah.
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 It's
But
like
it's a nice positive message. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
We thought, no wonder they detained us at the airport. They don't believe we're tourists. There's nothing to see.
right. They're just bored. But it's like the Liberty Bell, which whenever somebody comes here, I never say go see the Liberty Bell. It's underwhelming. It's a crack bell. I get it, but there's a lot of stuff down there that And we did a thing years ago about people who have lived here all their lives and have not seen it. It's just So you will leave, I'm sure, seeing more than a lot of Philadelphians have seen in your 6 days here.
Okay.
Do you guys do all the planning of what you want to do while you're here, or do you? Yeah, you do it.
So loose planning, don't we? And then most of it's just like make it up as we go along.
And
But
we
we
get-
will have a few.
And we get recommendations from
Yeah.
our viewers as well. We rely heavily on that because we want to make videos for them. So we're like, well, what do you want to see?
Yeah.
So most of the times it will be all the touristy stuff. And we would like to go off the beaten track, but we don't often have the time to do that.
Well, I think that's the charm is that you're doing the stuff that everyone says
Mm.
initially would say, I'd like to check that out. So these recon trips where you're going and you come here and obviously most of what you do is predicated on the differences and similarities. How many times a year, outside of a COVID scenario, would you make the trip to the States?
Yeah, we used to do quite a few, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then COVID just sort of meant that couldn't happen. So,
Maybe
what we're
3
aiming
trips a
for.
year.
At least 3?
3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 days, you can get like everything done and
Yeah.
then some in 6 days here.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt. I don't even know what you've done so far and what you have planned for today.
So, what have we done so far, Joel? You're the
So
map.
far-
Joel's the map.
We
I'm just the wandering follower.
we went to Reading Terminal Market
Okay.
for breakfast.
Good cause.
Loved it.
That was nice.
Well,
and
did
then
you have did you go to Nick's? Because there's a one of the shops in there has what has been labeled the greatest sandwich in the United States is
Wow.
at Reading Terminal Market.
Really? Did they just write that on the poster,
Yeah,
or did they actually?
They
been
didn't write it. It was I can't remember which foodie or which but it was like
Yeah.
it wasn't a Philadelphian who said it. It was
Okay.
somebody who has toured the whole country and said this is
That
the
is the
greatest.
best sandwich.
You will bet. I mean, there's a lot of great food here. That's one thing. I mean, Philly, over the course of the time that we've been doing the show, has become a real foodie city.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great stuff to check out. And as Preston was right, you can't do one cheesesteak. You're going to have to do a
Okay.
couple.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
That's fine with
That's
us.
interesting. Yeah, I can see the title now of that video. We tried the best sandwich in America.
Yes,
That'd
yeah,
be
right.
quite good.
That'd be
Yeah.
good. We also talking about soft pretzels. Apparently that's a
Apparently
Philly
that's a
thing.
thing.
Someone
is.
said tomato pie. And then I
Yes.
told that to someone, and they were like, "What
Yes.
is that?"
That's
Is
what we
that-
call
what
it
is
too.
that?
Tomato
Oh,
pie.
tomato.
Tomato pie.
Tomato pie. Yeah. So yes, it's kind of like pizza.
Okay.
But
Without the cheese.
Without the cheese,
Oh, and it's
and it's
cold.
usually
It's
served
cold.
cold.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
really
it has a
nothing like
sweetness to
pizza.
it too.
It's sweet.
It's
You're
yeah.
sweet.
really
yeah.
selling it, guys.
Yeah, it's unique and it's good, but
Corporalese.
You have to go
Corporalese.
Corporalese.
to get there.
Okay.
They're our favorite tomato pie for sure.
And the sweetness, I think, is what will surprise you. Is that it definitely has that taste to it. And it took a while for me to acclimate to it. You probably also have to do crab fries, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, chickies and Pete's.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
those
crab
are
fries.
too.
Why didn't you call us? We would give you a whole list.
I
There's so
listen,
much food
I
choice,
put
yeah.
I put Leah in touch with Marissa. I said she is Philadelphia, like
Right.
and anything and everything you need to know. And actually, because you're Greek as well.
Yeah.
One of her best friends owns a Greek restaurant, and it's what's it called? Hopa.
Oppa.
Yeah.
Oppa.
Oppa.
Yeah,
I love
and so
that.
she owns a nice restaurant in the city of Philadelphia. But like,
That's
if you
awesome.
really needed to consult anybody about anything you needed to see and do in the city, Marissa's your person.
Is there a Sixers game while they're here?
There's a Sixers, yeah, and LeBron James
Yeah.
is in town.
Is
LeBron
that,
James.
wow, you're joking.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought I pretended to be a fangirl then, but that's quite impressive. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Is that at the Wells Fargo?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Well, I did do a little bit of research. So, yeah.
Where are you guys staying in the city, downtown?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we won't say where.
No,
No,
not
no,
exactly.
no, no.
Yeah.
Last time we said where we were in a
Oh my
hotel,
gosh.
we just got so much food sent to the hotel, so maybe we should
gosh.
say it.
Honestly,
We got
they kept
Cuban
calling
sandwiches,
us.
we got cheese, deliveries of just cheese, because we said on a live stream how we
We
wanted
said we were hungry.
cheese.
They
and
started
then-
sending food.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
my
amazing.
Bruno Brothers.
That's very cool that your viewers are that
Yeah.
nice and that look
Amazing.
out
Oh,
for
they
you.
are, yeah.
We got to send them to Italian Market. Take a
Yes.
look at that down that way because you mentioned cheese. DeBruno Bros is down there, right?
Yeah, DeBruno's actually all over the place.
Are you
Yeah.
guys
You know-
museum people?
Nah.
We've got a cool one. We've
There's
got
one
a
called
super cool
The
one.
Muter Museum. It's
Yeah.
written like mutter, but it's pronounced Muter Museum, and it's oddities and it's weird like medical
Medical.
anomalies and stuff like that. And it's a really cool building on top of it. So if you want to go see some weird, gross stuff,
Yeah.
Philly's your place.
They have
We
a,
like
like a
that.
gigantic colon.
Yeah,
I mean,
as a
literally,
matter of
like,
fact-
like I mean, the
Okay, wow.
weird. They have the skeleton of what was the one time the tallest man in the world? Yes, right.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
sure.
at the Casey Musgraves concert last night at
Oh,
the
wow,
Wells
yeah,
at
I
the
saw
Wells
she was
Fargo
on.
Center, and she has been in town for the last couple of days. She went to the Muter Museum.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
it's good enough for Casey, it's good enough
Good
for
enough
us.
for us, yeah.
Yes.
We
Two
were reading
orders.
all about her in Nashville at that country music museum, weren't we?
Yeah, we did.
So I say we don't like museums, we actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends. Just not modern art. I don't
I
like modern art
know.
museums.
All right, we will.
Not modern art, yeah.
We'll steer you that way.
Well, I see that our callers are getting on the line, and I think I want to take this out for a spin because one of the things that always surprises us here is when we'll be watching a show, a movie, something like that, and you get to know a character, even sometimes over a few seasons. And then we'll hear an interview with them, and it turns out this person who we thought was from America is a Brit. And they have mastered the accent. And in fact, Kate Winslet, a show called Mayor of Easttown, which took place in this area, had to master not only just the American accent, but specifically she took it from where Casey is from, Delaware County. We call it Delco.
Yeah.
So it's got a very specific accent. And she said it was the most difficult accent she ever tried to master. And she nailed it. She nailed it spot on.
I mean, she's
Amazing.
winning awards right and left for it. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So we wanted to do a game with you guys called Brit or Not a Brit.
Ooh,
fun.
gosh, okay.
We have a series of callers
Okay.
that are going to speak. We've given them something to say.
Oh, gosh.
Some of them are British and some of them are American, but they're all going to be attempting a British accent.
Okay.
Or just
You
talking.
have to determine whether they are legitimately British or not.
100%
Okay.
Joel's going to be really good at this.
Oh, yeah?
I
I'll
think,
try.
yeah.
I did a degree in
Particularly-
linguistics,
yeah.
so
Well, there you go. That's
I love
good.
accents, but I say that I probably, I'll be terrible.
Okay.
Well, the
we'll-
funny thing
we'll find
is
out.
that, as you know, because as you know, you're obviously spent a lot of time in the States. Obviously, there are different dialects throughout the United States. For England, for the size that it is, there are a tremendous amount of different dialects.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular accent? If someone would somebody be able to pick out what region you're from?
I think they would say generic sort of south of the UK accent for both of us. Leah's got a
probably
slight
Midlands
twang.
yeah, I'd say I'm Midlands RP.
Yeah, so you're sort of in the middle of the
Yeah.
UK. So yeah, people could place us, but not so specifically. I
But
think.
It's so funny when some of our American viewers are like, Leah, you sound like Adele. I'm like, I
Like
really
Adele.
don't. I
Really?
She's from a completely different area.
But she's a bit sharper, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite or least favorite British accent?
I love
Welsh.
Welsh. Oh, I love a bit of Welsh. I do. And I heard that Philadelphia's got a Welsh
Yeah.
bit of history here.
Well, in fact,
Sure.
yes, where you're at, Balakinwood is,
Yeah.
it's a Welsh name.
Yeah.
It's spelled Balacynyd. That's how you spell Balakinwood. So that's clearly a Welsh
Yeah.
Yeah.
derivation. So.
When you mock, when you are trying to make like a classic stereotypical.
All right, thanks, Kat. So Kathy had a story in the news earlier about a woman who has a business, and some people came in. They were dressed as Pico employees, and they managed to scam her out of like $3,500 or something like that.
Yeah, they stood outside and then inside received a phone call from a 1-800 number, and they were, I guess, working together. And
Seemed to be right.
yeah, and they said you needed to pay your Pico bill. They were the disconnection team outside, and that you needed to pay your Pico bill, or else they were going to turn it off. And so she ended up paying.
God.
And
how did
lost.
how did they ask that she pay?
Well, she went to they said she needed to pay on the Pico kiosk, and so she went to the site, whatever it was, and it was a Bitcoin site, and she called back, and they said, no, you can pay through Bitcoin, and she did, and that was it.
Yeah, so
Lost her money.
full on scam, and that led us to a short conversation about the amount of times. The amount of times you in a week are approached with some type of blatant scam. And I think other than we see these videos of people going in and shoplifting en masse and stuff like this, I think this is the most visibly blatant crime that is taking place regularly. It's so clear to most of us that this is you're a thief.
Care to give
You're being a thief right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Want to give a guesstimate on as to how many times a week you think someone is approaching you online or texting you with a scam?
Via text and the phone calls too.
And the phone calls.
At home, because we still have a landline. So we get calls on the daily. So I would say, Steve, probably I'm gonna say maybe 8 or 9 times a week. There's something that I'm going, nope, scam. You know what I mean? And just kind of flipping out. Email, it doesn't happen as much anymore to me personally, but it's text, it's phone calls. That I mainly have. And then Casey had an incident the other day, and I'll let you just tell this story because it led to you being a little bit embarrassed about how you act, and I don't think you need to be. But go ahead.
and because it wasn't a scam, but like with what we do for work, sometimes I have to answer phone numbers that I am not familiar with.
Right.
on
the off chance.
On the off chance. And so I had gotten a phone call from, it looked like, from Preston, PA.
Right.
Okay. Area code 570. Wasn't expecting a phone call from this number. Didn't know the number. But, just a little backstory here. On Monday, my daughter broke her finger. And I was going back and forth with insurance companies and doctors' offices, and they were supposed to. By the way, they still haven't called me back to get her casted up. Okay? Okay, Premier?
Yeah.
So anyway, so nobody called me. So I was waiting for a call back from either insurance and or a doctor's office to get her in there to get her hand casted up because it is straight up broken. So I'm literally on the toilet pooping, Kathy. And because she wanted to know that detail.
Yeah, we needed that information.
You pulled your poop knife out of its sheath.
I get this phone call. I reluctantly answer. And now when I get a phone call and I answer it from a number I don't know, I kind of wait a little bit. I hit the answer button. And then you've never called before. Don't ask who it
Also, can I speak to Casey, please?
Yeah.
Well, that's
I know what it is.
Hi. This is Joe Smith, and I'm calling on behalf. And by the way, it was the publicist for the Shakes the Clown guy. What's that guy's name? Terrifier.
Art Shakes the Clown. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. So it was for Art the Clown. We had him on as a guest yesterday.
David,
and it was his publicist, and he just kept saying, "Is this Casey?" And I'm like, who is this? Can you please identify yourself?
Why was he doing that?
Because of these scams. I do not want to say, yes, this is Casey.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're recording my voice, so you got to say, hi, this is Joe Smith. I'm calling on behalf of Shakes the Clown. Is this Casey?
Right. So in his case, he's calling because we've sort of done a circuitous thing, and Dave from Monster Mania helped
Thank you, Dave.
hook this up, and very good, and it all worked out great, and you apologize to the guy. But yeah. There, you get so besieged by these kind of calls, and it is a tactic when someone says that they can record your voice and will use it to do all sorts of nefarious things.
And I'm like, listen, I don't know if it's true or not, but like I'm a little bit leery. So if somebody
put shakes on,
if somebody is asking me a question where I have to voice the word yes,
exactly,
I'm not going to do that.
I avoid the word yes altogether because I've heard in the past that they can use that as a. They can record that and say, you confirmed by saying the word yes to whatever it is they're offering up. However, they've edited it or I don't know what, but I try to avoid the word yes.
And because of that, I use one of two tactics, and I implore people to do the same thing. If you're calling somebody that you've never called before, maybe send them a text first to say, hey, this is Casey. I'm gonna give you a call real quick to talk to you about this, right? And then you can do that. Or when somebody answers the phone, you identify who you are and what you're doing.
I mean,
that's just standard protocol. Hi, this is Steve. Or you
don't call somebody and go, hi, who's this?
This is Steve from the President Steve Show. Blah, blah, blah.
I don't call and say, hi, who's this? I may do what he said if I'm calling a number. I will say, hi, is this Casey?
Yeah.
I will do that if it's someone I've never called before because that's the person I'm trying to contact.
Right. Yeah.
Now I can understand if they go, who's this? And I would say, hi, I'm Preston. I'm calling. I'm trying to reach Casey, just in case there's some confusion.
Because my first who's this was pretty pleasant. I was like, yeah, who's this?
Yeah, or who's calling? Yeah.
And is this Casey? Okay, so what you're saying, Casey, that's I think that would be ideal. Most people are not going to do that, but for me, I just think it's I said it a little bit ago. I just think it's simple. Can I please speak to Casey? Like it's just a simple nice greeting, and then you're not going to go, you know what I mean? You're not going to get into that argument.
Yeah.
It's funny because years ago, and I remember this clearly in elementary school, they brought in Preston at the time, landline, a closed landline, one phone to the other, and they had somebody, one of the students sit in the class, and the other student went outside into the hallway and sat down, and they taught you how to conduct phone protocol.
Phone etiquette.
Right, phone etiquette.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, though, where you yes, you do have to be so aware because you get bombarded with this stuff all the time. How did it end up working out?
I apologize up and down once we figured out who he was and what was going on, and I actually gave him like the Cliff's Note version of what was going on. You know, I said, hey, listen, I'm really really sorry, but like I didn't know who you were. I'm waiting for a phone call from doctor's office. My daughter broke her finger. I'm taking a dump right now. I didn't say that. But and then I don't think he really I don't think he cared. I think he was still a little honked off at me.
Nick, I think we should just use the you and I like the line from Boys in the Hood. And just answer the phone by going, who dis?
Who dis?
Who dis?
Who dis?
Yeah.
Who dis?
Trey, this is your mother. When introducing yourself to somebody that you haven't contacted before, if you've not emailed them, do you guys text first? Because I think at this point I kind of do. I gotta be like, hey,
Not always. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I call first.
Sometimes
and
I
then
do.
if they don't answer, sometimes I will follow with a text and just say, this is who I am. When you get a chance, give
May
me a
I
call
enroll you in the Jam of the Month Club?
Kathy, you never leave voicemails, right?
back. I wouldn't leave. Yeah, no, rarely, no. I would hang up and send the text as opposed to
My missed
to
call
leaving
is a voicemail.
Yeah, but see, I think the missed call is a voicemail.
If someone knows you.
Yeah, there's
If
a
you
gap
don't
there.
have
If
those-
it's a new number and they don't leave a voicemail, I'm not going to call that person back.
So, Nick, let me bring this up, and this is something that's happening quite a lot. Someone will call. I'll see it happen. I'll see them calling on the cell phone, even during the show, and I have it on the mute or whatever, and it goes to voicemail. Now, I know they've called, and I know that they have left a voicemail. That voicemail will not appear.
Yes,
for like hours later.
The next day.
Hours later.
I've had days later sometimes.
Yeah.
Why does it do that?
I don't know. Same thing. I think
It's annoying.
I'm actually happy to hear that I'm not alone.
Yes.
No.
That you guys are having the same problem.
Yes, and it sucks.
Yeah.
My voicemail box is perpetually full, and I know that it bothers some people. I just text me, I'll call you back, or if I saw that you call, I'll call you. But so what?
Yeah.
My voice, who cares?
Why don't you clean it out though?
Because there are messages in there from Ben when he was 5.
Oh, that you're saving.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
All right.
listen, I probably should just dump them down and store the MP3s or whatever. But I just having.
Eddie, where are you?
You missed that
There
call.
are a couple of famous people in there, Steve. Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
When are you and Will coming back to a show?
There was a couple of years ago when I was picking my son up at soccer practice, and one of his teammates was left behind. His parents got mixed up. Mom thought dad was getting him. Dad thought mom was getting him, and he was there. And I was going to give him a ride home, but I didn't want to give him a ride home without telling his parents, just in case his parents showed up and they're like,
Right.
"Where's this kid?" And so nobody was answering the phone. Nobody, because nobody answers the phone from a number they don't know.
Yeah.
And the problem was it was their home phone. And so I couldn't text them to say, hey, this is me. Please answer. I have your kid.
I want $1 million in crypto.
I play roulette every now and then, Russian roulette with the numbers I don't recognize, just for the hell
You
of it.
will answer?
Yeah, why not? And 9 times out of 10, you'll say hello, and then there's a 3-second pause.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You're hearing data entry going on in the background.
Something,
Yeah.
something. There's a pause, and then they check in, and then after 2 seconds, I know, and I just hang up the phone. I don't even respond. I just hang up on them. But every now and then, there have been a couple of them where I didn't recognize the number. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I answered this.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Especially if you know, as with you, Casey, you were waiting for a call. So you're like, I should take this. Even if I have to do that song and dance, I'm going to take this because I'm waiting for a call.
Yeah.
All right, let me get some, speaking of calls, let me go to a few coming in. I have Kathy on the line. Hi, Kath. Good morning.
Morning. How are you today?
Good. What's up, Kathy?
Well, I just got hacked out of $399,000.
What?
$399,000?
Yes, I had just inherited this money back in July, and the hackers got me in August. So I just want to warn anybody that has older equipment. Like my computer was 5 years old, my phone was 8 years old, and I am not tech savvy. I wasn't then. I am now. But
Kathy, if I can interrupt, how did they scam you? What happened?
Well, they showed up as a withdrawal out of my investment account. And when I called the investment company, they said I called in the fraud department, and they said they would call me back. Well, who called me back was the hackers. It wasn't the fraud department at all. But it showed on my phone. It showed on my phone that it was an investment company.
Okay, so they reached out to you saying that you had an issue, there was a problem, and to contact them. And it was the scammers that had reached out to you, and that's who you contacted back
Dear
to.
God.
Yeah.
So do you have any recourse, Kathy?
I have talked to the local police, the state police, the FBI. I have talked to 3 separate lawyers, talked to my bank, and talked to the investment company, and I am screwed.
I can't believe
Poor thing.
can't even get a recovery password for the PlayStation Network because the security is so tight. And these people are able to get in and steal $400,000 from you?
Yeah, they changed my password and they changed my username. They tricked me really, really good.
Well, but you raise a good point, Kathy. That's how good, that's how comprehensive they can get, that they would be that savvy to call back. Never, and obviously this is after the fact, and obviously you've gotten up to speed on this, but if you, for a nanosecond, don't give any access code information, any personal information, best to just take a pause, call them. You initiate the call and then see if you're dealing with the legitimate people.
What you've got to do is never ever call a number or a link that is sent to you. You have to go and find a separate number online. That's
the problem was I did call the investment company. I called the investment company. They did not call me.
Okay, so
they
you
did not initiate it.
I'm sorry, Kathy. So then, how did they when they called you when these scammers called you back? They were aware of the fact that you would call the investment company and were in this kind of situation?
Yes, and they posed as the investment company.
Wow. Wow, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, and then I understand that once you've been scammed, these scammers will sell your information to other scammers.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Like you're an easy mark.
Yeah.
So I've been attempted to scam a lot since then. But I understand that they will sell your information so that other scammers can get you too.
Yeah, well, man, that is horrible news. We hope this in some way can be reversed at some level for you. That's just terrible, Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy, keep listening in case somebody calls in that might be able to help you out. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but just keep listening to this segment, okay?
Okay, will do.
All right, thank you.
Guys.
All right,
You
appreciate
rock.
it. Wow, you rock.
Oh, $400,000.
I know, but you know what? I wonder. So here's some hope. If she got this inheritance, did the taxes get taken out yet? Because if not, maybe the IRS would be like, "Hang on a second, we need some of our money here, and we'll do some
The
investigating."
likelihood they're going to go through. They're going to look to launder that money in a way that'll shield it from taxes.
Casey, you'd mentioned though, how you have a problem even retrieving a password from your PlayStation or whatever. I mean, there are think of the ransomware groups out there. There are people that are just great at this.
It scares
me. Get
me.
into it, and they get into very, very secure networks, and then they hold them for ransom for millions of dollars. It happened in my school district.
Well, and you know what? I put it this way. Yes, they're out there, and if they want to get your stuff, they're going to do it. And if they want to focus their attention on getting that, they will. But when you realize that the predominant amount of car thefts are from thieves that go up to see if the car is unlocked, but by a vast margin, and they're unlocked, so you realize, at least on a basic level, you can take some preventative measures that would at least don't make it easy for them.
Right.
Preston, I use Facebook Marketplace all the time, and I know that there's a scam around that, but I never understand it. And when the messages come in, I see it. I know the scam messages, but I don't know how it works because I never reply to them.
All right, we have Barry who got scammed on Facebook Marketplace. So let's go to him. Maybe it ties into what you're talking about. Barry, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
What's up, Barry?
Hey, Preston, that was a real tough act to follow on that last call. However, so I don't sell a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace. I probably have sold a total of less than 10 things. So I don't use it that often. However, I was selling something recently on there and got a message saying, I'm very interested in this. However, I'm at work and I can't talk.
Can you call me?
Please send me your phone number so my husband can call you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't written in broken English. It was written normally like how anybody else would,
Right.
I get the same messages.
So I'm an idiot, obviously, and I send them my phone number. And then I get my phone number is connected also to my Gmail account and stuff like that. And I get a notification from Google Voice, which I don't use Google Voice, saying that my number was switched. They took my phone number, my actual phone number, and attached it to their Google Voice account. So remember how you were saying earlier in the report that the number was spoofed and that when police tried calling it, it was linked to nothing?
Right.
Yeah.
Google Voice and that's how those numbers show up as normal 215-267 numbers.
Okay.
So
I
Barry,
had to go through Google, and then there's a whole system of reclaiming your number so that this person can't use it to scam other people.
were they able to rob or pilfer from you in any way after doing that?
So me being an idiot, I did it quick enough. After I sat down and I realized, I'm like, wait, this person hasn't called me, and I got this message from Google, I went right on Google and just searched how to reclaim it. It was probably less than, 15 minutes.
All right, you jumped right on it.
So they just stole your phone number. They didn't get money or whatever from you.
Correct, but that's step one in this whole entire
right.
Step 2 is to contact a Nigerian prince.
No, but you have to because I do use Marketplace a lot, and anytime if you post on the actual Marketplace and not your town's yard sale site, immediately you get these messages. I mean, I have a ton in my inbox. You get them immediately, and they come from also accounts that maybe there's one picture or they have 4 friends.
Yeah,
that's what I always look at.
All right.
It also tells you, which is pretty interesting, how long they've been associated with Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
So their account is 5 years old. This account, when I went back and I looked at it, hindsight, the count was made in 2023. I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Hey Barry, just in general, do you use the 2-factor authentication, when they give you the opportunity to do that? Do you do it?
I do. However, this was just through my phone number.
Okay.
So it wasn't like they were actually in my Google, network or my Google accounts. They specifically took my phone number.
Yeah, and they can do a lot of damage with that. So
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
All right, Barry. Thanks, man. We appreciate you sharing the story. Take care, bud. Wow. So, that's what you were talking about.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. And they come in from weird accounts, and I just didn't understand the scam and what but I guess they're looking to get your information and not the product.
We're going to go to Tom next. Hi, Tom. You're on the air. Good morning.
You guys rock.
Oh, we love you, man. What's up, bud?
Well, my strategy is, first of all, my phone barely ever rings. So if I get a call from a unknown number or a number I don't know, I'm usually answering the phone. But they want to know who I am. I'm like, well, what's this matter about? And they're like, is this Tom? I'm like, well, I'm not going to confirm or deny whether this is Tom or not. What's this regarding?
Yeah.
And then they'll say this, that, or the other thing, and I'll just be like, put me on your do not call list.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're by actively putting those steps between you and them, that is a good safety valve, so to speak. So we what happens is,
thanks, Tom.
And it happens a lot in the bustle of your day. You're doing things. You're getting calls, Casey, from an insurance company or something or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, and you're thrown off.
Yeah.
But if you have to sort of stay on your game.
I guess you could say, instead of yes, you could say it is.
Yeah.
And that's avoiding the word yes if you want to get
At that point, if you don't identify yourself, I'm hanging up on you. Bye-bye.
Affirmative.
Click.
Say.
Affirmative. What really makes me ill is when they purposely go after senior citizens.
Yeah.
It's how can you live with yourself? How can you live with yourself, man?
I'm not going to stop thinking about Kathy all day.
I know, it's horrible.
$400,000 inheritance. That's awful.
Yeah.
And here, Casey just came into $400,000.
It's weird and weird timing. Very, very weird timing.
I wasn't going to say anything.
There's a lot of interesting calls here. I'm going to go next to Andy. Hi, Andy. You're on the air. Morning.
Hey, it's Andy from Germantown.
Germantown, Andy!
What's up, Andy?
Andy!
Guten Tag.
I like to mess with the scammers. I'll see how long I can keep them on the phone. So I'll just keep talking. My record's 45 minutes. I'll usually pretend I'm an old man, and they'll try and read me off the URL. I have to type into my computer, and I'll say, "Oh, it's not working," and they'll read off, and I say, "Oh, I got one letter wrong. Let me just get back to it," and then I'll try it again, and I'll get a different letter wrong, and I'll keep at it for minutes on end. They're starting to get frustrated. They pass me off to their quote unquote supervisor. It could go on for quite a while.
Andy, have you ever inadvertently engaged someone who had legitimate business with you?
No.
Okay.
You can always tell. You get that pause.
Right.
Yep.
It's usually an accent. There's people talking in the background.
Right.
You know.
And Andy, they'll hang out for a long time trying to, it's not a waste of time for them. It's this could potentially be a scam.
They think they've got a hook. They think they've got a hold.
Yeah.
They can connive into giving them something. They'll stay with it as long as they can.
Would you agree? I think the thing to do is just remain as cynical as possible and suspect. Listen, err on the side of caution because you hear like a story like Kathy's. You'd never want that to happen.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy.
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
Appreciate it, bud. All right, we got an email from an investigator who is on the line and deals with this type of stuff regularly, and he's got some scary stuff to tell us. So we're going to go to Craig next. Hi, Craig. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, buddy. All right. So,
who are we speaking with?
Craig.
Yeah, that.
So
what I emailed Nick and what you guys are talking about is my daily life. People like Kathy, and I've had cases where it's been in the millions.
Yeah.
What's scary is what's coming, not what's here, what's coming, and it's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to replicate a voice that you're familiar with. And now the scammers will have you in their grasp, talking to who you think is someone when it's not even really someone.
All right, Craig. So let me ask you this: Are we approaching? And I jokingly say this, but I've told people this: unless you get something certified, that's the first step delivered to you. Almost let it go as far as it needs to go before you commit to something like this, because you need. What is the best way in this day and age with looming AI? To make sure that you are dealing with with people who have legitimate business with you? What is your system of checks on this?
So I would caution people to make sure you, unless you can't face to face communicate with the person, have a system of checks and balances. Work out a almost your own way of two-factor authentication.
Code words.
Code words.
Yep. Those are the kind of things. There's a really neat YouTuber who has a channel called Scammer Payback. If you ever get some time to go down the rabbit hole, he actually does what your last caller does. He engages them, and he goes a step further, though. He finds out exactly where they're located. He can turn on their cameras on their computers, and does some really cool things.
So
how does he do that?
Yeah, they can do that. Yeah.
They can. So he does essentially what a lot of these scammers do once they install their malware on and take control of your computer. That's exactly what they're doing. They get you to click on that link. Once you do click on the link, the malware gets installed on the computer, and then they have control of your computer. And it maintains that control until you professionally get that computer washed, or you throw it away and destroy it and get a new computer.
Right. So let me give you a couple of scenarios here, Craig. You get an email from Apple. You get an email from UPS saying an account has been compromised. Blah 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 blah. Your one eyebrow raises. What is the process you go through to make sure that is legit?
So number one, make sure that you have an account with whoever that is.
Right.
Many times I have people tell me, "Well, I don't even have a PayPal account." Well, then why did you respond to it? So make sure you have that.
Right.
Then go to the legitimate site.
Yep.
And don't just use a Google or Bing search, because if you pay attention to Google and Bing, the first couple of sites that pop up are ads.
Right.
They're paid for ads.
Correct.
The scammers are paying to put their ads up there now.
That's crazy. I have no idea. How can they legitimately do that?
Because it's about the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
Money.
So, Craig, a lot of listeners are texting and saying that this scammer payback channel on YouTube, like this guy will use the scammers' measures against them, that he will use their tools and essentially fight back. Should consumers watch this as a precaution?
I highly encourage people to do that. I don't encourage people to engage in what he does. I've spoken to him a number of times. I actually wanted to get him. He's in California. I wanted to get him here in Delaware to speak to my constituents, or the people that I work for. He does what I would hope our government could do at some point. And on some level they can. It's just there's so many of them out there.
Right.
I mean, think about this. If you send out 500 emails and you get 4 responses, and then you get $1,000 from one of them, that's an easy job.
That is well worth the effort.
Yep.
Craig, do you think we might regress a bit back to a more analog way of doing these things for security's sake?
I mean, I would hate to think that we would regress because as we regress, the bad people progress.
Yeah. Okay.
What I want to have happen is for our big companies, our Verizons, our AT&Ts, to step up their game when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's a lot more that we can do as a society. They can do as a major company to combat what's going on out there, and that's what I want to see. I want to see more effort.
All right, so Craig, you have you grandma or grandpa, you see them or you visit them or whatever the story is, you deal with them. They pick up the phone and call you when they get an email or a text or something that they don't know how to handle. Well, what do you need to do if you are dealing with people who are not tech savvy in your life? How do you need to prepare them? What do you need to tell them? Do you have them siphon everything through you? What's the best way to proceed with that?
So what I try to get when I get these, and I get these every day, I try to get a trusted contact, a friend, a relative who is a little more tech savvy. That the worst thing that I see in my daily adventures are elderly people who decide they are lonely and they want to use a piece of equipment that they're not familiar with to communicate with people they've never met before. So I try to find a trusted contact who I know will be looking out for their best interest financially, but allowing them to continue to be independent, because that's one thing we don't want to do. We don't want to take their life away from them.
No, that's true. But you, on the other side, you don't want to lose $400,000 or millions of dollars. So for someone who's older listening or whatever, get that person you trust and when in doubt, take a pause, right? Because I see so many people, and I'll be advising people on how to do something software-wise, and they've already clicked it before I've said to click it. It's like, hold it, wait. And so you need somebody who's going to be there who can give you salient advice on how to handle these things.
That's the best advice you just gave. Take a pause. They prey on your emotions taking over, and that's what can happen. Take a pause. Walk away, think about it for a minute, collect your thoughts, come back to it, maybe even talk to somebody about it.
Yes.
Call up your relative, call up your tech-savvy grandson and say, hey, I just got this. What do you think?
Yeah.
That could save you everything.
Yeah.
Craig, if you do get to the point where you have been scammed, you're with the Delaware Department of Justice. Should you reach out to your state Department of Justice?
So your first contact should be the police.
Okay.
In any jurisdiction, and you guys probably don't remember, but I'm an MMR lifer.
Yeah.
I am a Tattoo Tuesday recipient. I was one of your last in office tattoos.
Tattoo
by
Tuesdays.
Jenny Bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by Jenny Bones.
So-
Okay.
Yeah. So call the police.
Okay.
Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Sometimes the police may give you a little pushback because these are difficult crimes to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them are overseas, so they'll say they don't have jurisdiction. At least report it. Say, I just want to report it. That's your first step.
You just said, I'm sorry, let me just jump in here quickly. I'm sorry, just to jump in quickly, you said a key, don't be embarrassed. And you talked about people and people who feel, that they want the autonomy. Realize that very tech-savvy people and major companies are being scammed likewise. So it's not like you're an idiot. It's not like these guys aren't practiced and are good at what they do. So don't feel embarrassed. I'm sorry, but go ahead now.
No, absolutely. And after you report it, then start to educate yourself on what's happened. The Federal Trade Commission has a great website on scamming. Just about everybody out there nowadays in the tech world has a page that deals with how to deal with scammers and what to do once you've been scammed, because this is a lengthy process. This is not just an overlay. As Kathy told you when she called in, they sell this information on the dark web. Okay, so now that she's been scammed, her information's out there, and scammers, what we're seeing them do nowadays is wait 6 months. They'll get your information. They won't call you right away. They'll wait 6 months. You'll forget about it.
Yeah.
And now they're back to doing it.
Wow. What a bunch of scumbags.
Craig, we appreciate the info. Keep fighting the good fight, all right, man?
Always.
All right, we'll talk to you. Thank you,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Wow.
We do have smart listeners
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
who have tattoos of us.
Wow. All right, I want to go to one last call because we have people have been on hold for a long time. I apologize, but Dave has been on hold for over 20 minutes. So let me go to him real quick. Hi, Dave. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up, bud? Gadzooks, man.
Okay, so this is weird, really weird. I got a call in last year, and it was from a guy who claimed to be a detective looking for my ex. And my ex is a physician, so I was like, okay, why are you looking for her? She's my ex. And he's like, well, we have some information. He's some sort of she's an expert witness in this medical case. Okay, it's weird, but they blocked their number, so I couldn't see it. So I go, okay, and he gives me a number to call, and I called the number. And call back to see what happens, and it sounds like confidential voicemail of blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, and then I look up the number, and I look up the guy's information. It turns out he actually is a police officer in Bowling Green, where she lives.
Okay.
So I go, okay, and maybe I should trust this guy. So I called back and just said, I don't know where she is, but I just don't know. I gave her no information. So that kind of went away, although I did call the Bowling Green Police Department in Ohio, and which is weird because it wasn't in Kentucky.
Yeah.
In Ohio, and they said that this officer was there but does not work there anymore.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I'm like, don't know what's going on. Wait for a few months. A few months later, I get a call from another number. This one's actually in Illinois. I'm a teacher. I get calls from like all over the place. My students have like numbers from New York and New Mexico, wherever they are.
Right.
So I get calls from all over the place. And same kind of thing, looking for my ex, and I'm like hesitant. Okay, but this is calling from the Warren County Sheriff's Office in Kentucky. So I'm like, okay, and I stop there. Okay, let me call you back. So I call back the number again, and again it has a confidential voicemail. And then I call the Warren County Sheriff's Office, and I say, get this call from Lieutenant so-and-so. And I say, well, we have a sergeant here named that, but we don't have a lieutenant. I said, okay. Well, you got someone impersonating an officer, and that's kind of a big deal. And we get some information, and my ex's sister is actually an attorney. So I said, hey, you want to contact her? That might be it. But I mean, it kind of freaked me out because someone claiming to be a cop.
Well, Dave, was it in fact? So these were in fact they were posing as police officers.
They're posing as police officers.
Huh? Yeah. Well, I mean that's a whole other level of crime.
Did anything ever come of this?
No, with the sheriff's department said is he's going to call the number and leave a message saying, you know what, you haven't done anything illegal yet, but you don't want to go that way. And then he said he's going to call my ex too, and my sister-in-law, because she's an attorney in the state. So she's as an officer of the court. It's one of those things that she has to take seriously. She has to. So hopefully I won't hear from them again. Yeah, so it's like the follow-up to that is I was in New Mexico after that, and I heard shots fired outside my hotel. So I call the police. 911, that's just, shots fired.
Yep.
So I call the police. They say, okay, we'll have someone contact you. I get a call back like an hour later, shots fired an hour later, saying, who is this? Now here I am, like, I don't know who this is. I don't know, also not New Mexico. And I'm like, I don't know who this is. And they identify themselves as a police. And I'm like, again, why aren't you identifying yourself?
Right.
But this time it actually was. So,
okay. All right. But it gave you pause because you had that experience in the past, and this time you were legitimately talking to the police. All right. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it, man.
There seems to be the key thing, Preston. Pause. Don't hit the button. Don't respond. Think about it. And because you can go down that hole quickly, and then it's something that's an irrevocable mistake.
Yeah, if you have just a little hint of suspicion, then you need to not act on what you're being asked to act on right then and there.
You know what you do?
You need to go and find an outside source to contact this entity.
Grab some food. Come down to the Camp Out for Hunger.
Yeah.
Hang out.
We'll help you out with
Think about it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
All right. Anyhow, thank you for the calls. We do appreciate it, but that's some scary stuff.
It is.
Especially the AI stuff. That's pretty terrifying. All right. You know what's not terrifying? Actually, is comforting and warm and wonderful. Cheesesteaks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And our friends at Geno's have stopped by this morning in Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia. They are excited to add another hometown legend to 10th Street Market, the cheesesteak of all cheesesteaks, the world-famous Geno's. We have a $50 gift card for sports and social at Live.
Nice.
And see, you call us.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you the number on the radio so you know it's not a scam.
And you can hear us.
We'll take caller number 11 at 215-263-WMMR, and we will set you up with that. And some people were actually, a couple texts coming in saying that they would get a call from they didn't recognize, and it was us telling them they won $1,000 with Crumb Bum Cash.
Yeah.
That can be a little confusing too. So you never know.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll take that 11th call. We'll set you up some bizarre file stories. I got some goodies today. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
British accent. Which do you target for? What region do you target?
You'd probably end up being Birmingham, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you like Birmingham.
Yeah.
And Birmingham has been voted as like the ugliest UK accent for years and years, which is so sad because it's a quirky accent.
Yeah, nice.
But no, I think we
love
just
them
go for a
all.
posh, like us, but
Right.
times 10.
Of course, I'm always doing when we do the royal family. We do
That's
the
how he
royal-
speaks.
Yes.
Pretty good, Steve.
Right, but I mean, so and everything that I do is a very over exaggerated thing because that's how it resonates with people. But I love the subtlety, so we'll see how you guys do with this.
You kind of do a little Cockney thing sometimes.
Yeah,
too,
now
so-
and then.
Yeah. It goes.
Yeah.
It's funny though. What is amazing, we learned about Cockney, and I was just watching To Sir with Love again when Sidney Poitier passed away. That Cockney speak, that jumbled
That
word,
rhyming?
Yeah.
Can you
Right.
follow it, or do you need to be from the neighborhood to know what some of that stuff is?
It's almost like speaking in metaphors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things would ping out, wouldn't they? Like
Yeah.
apple and stairs, we know apple and pears mean stairs,
Yes.
things like that. But we can, if someone was actually speaking it, which
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met
It's
anyone.
kind
who
of
speaks
dying
to me
out
in it.
now.
Yeah.
So, like parents' generations that are from that area, then it kind of has now dissolved.
I
the
assume when you
Cockney
speak
rhyme
that way and you're calling for an ambulance and they can't figure out where you are, that's why you're dying out. 'cause
Yeah,
you
that's it.
can't get medical assistance.
All right, so we are going to play Brit or Not a Brit. All right, and we've got callers on the line, and here's the story. We have given them.
There we go. We had to play that.
Yeah.
We've given them lines from movies that are based in Philadelphia
Okay.
to say to you. So if whatever they're saying makes no sense to you at all, don't worry about it. It's from a Philly movie.
Preston,
so,
by happenstance, I watched both Rocky and the second half of Philadelphia last
oh,
night.
perfect.
Yes, I'm all prepped.
You're up to speed
Yeah.
on this. All right, so let's get our first caller on the line. Is this the order that we're going in? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Jen. Jen, good morning.
Morning to you.
All right, Jen, you are going to read a movie line for Joel and Leah, and let's see if we can figure out if you're a Brit or not a Brit. So go ahead, please.
You know what crazy is? Crazy is majority rule. Take germs, for example. In the 18th century, no such thing. Nada. Nothing. No one ever imagined such a thing. No sane person, anyway. Hey, look at this doctor.
Can't give a straight face.
No, she was good.
Okay, all right. Let's
She was
find
quite good.
let's find out officially.
Oh, so tragic.
Leah, what do you think, Brit or not a Brit?
I think not a Brit.
All right, and Joel, Brit or not a Brit?
Not a Brit.
All right, Jen, what are you?
No,
Where are you
not
from,
a
Jen? Where are you from, Jen?
I am from Newark, Delaware.
Newark, Delaware. Not a Brit. All right, so somebody keep
Well
score,
done.
by the way.
All
They
right.
knew immediately. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a bit over the top.
Wasn't bad though.
No, it was decent. She was just
Yeah.
it was just a bit augmented.
Right. It's like the way I do it.
What
so
movie was that, by the way?
Yeah, what
Do we
movie?
even know?
anybody? Do you know what movie those lines were from, Jen? Because I couldn't pick up
Yeah,
on
that was from 12 Monkeys.
Monkeys.
That was pretty hard, actually.
Yes. All
No,
right.
you did a good job.
All right. Is Jen are we giving prizes away? Or
Only
what
if
are we
they
doing?
stump them.
Only if they stump
Yeah,
them. Okay.
okay.
All
That's the
right.
way we do it here in the States.
Yeah.
You
Sorry,
gotta really-
Jen.
You got to really do it.
Thanks
Yeah.
for playing, though. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right, these guys are they're good on one. All right, let's get our next caller on the line.
Quite a fun game.
And we're going to go to Duke. Good morning, Duke.
Hi.
All right, Duke, could you please give us the line that you're going to be reading for Joel and Leah?
Okay.
Be nice if you had it ready to go.
Give him a minute.
He's doing
Look, it's a name, man. The Italian stallion. The media will eat it up. Now, Who discovered America? It's an Italian, right? What would be better than to get it on with one of its descendants?
The actor prepares.
Duke, I want to thank you for rehearsing that all night last night.
I watched that scene live last night.
So wonderfully. Okay, so what do you think? Let's go, Joel. Brit or not a Brit?
I think he's a Brit. I think Duke isn't even his name because that's a very American name.
Okay.
I think that's very good.
And Leah, what do you think?
I think not a Brit.
You think not a Brit? Duke, where are you from?
I'm from Manchester.
Joel got it right.
All right, so apparently Duke owns a barbershop called Blokes in Old City.
No kidding.
Very nice, Duke.
How long have you been in the States, Duke?
10 years.
10 years. Okay.
Wow.
Originally from Manchester. Were you a barber there as well, or is this a whole new
I
life?
was, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Nice.
I was a barber and a musician.
All right, and reading the info that you sent us, what other countries do you get mistaken that you are from?
Oh, okay. Irish, Australian, Kiwi, South African, all sorts.
All of them, yeah, I believe it. And that's a common refrain, by the way. People are like, "Are you South African?" And
Oh my
so
God!
on.
Yeah. To me, Australian and Kiwi so different, and I don't know.
Oh,
how.
you use bloke. You use the word bloke. You must be from Australia.
All right, well, Duke, you did manage to stump Leah, so I think that's good for a prize.
Yeah, we'll hook you up with
All
something.
right, hang on a second, Duke. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Marissa, do I need to keep him on hold, or will we contact him?
We'll contact him.
We'll contact him. All right, I'm
It was
gonna let-
funny because my friend is Helen.
Duke
She's
go.
from Manchester,
Yeah.
and when he was saying a couple of things, I was like, "Oh my God, that's." And I was with her last night. I was like, "That's exactly how she sounds." So maybe I can pick out a Manchester accent.
All right, let's go with another caller. We have Peter on the line. Good morning, Peter.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. All right, so we have Joel and Leah here. We're playing Brit or not a Brit. Could you give us the line, please?
I will do. Commodities or agricultural products like coffee that you had for breakfast, wheat, which is used to make bread, pork bellies, which is used to make bacon, which you might find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich.
Yeah, definitely a Brit.
Brit.
All right, you guys both say Brit?
Uh-huh.
Brit.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Where's he
Right.
from?
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Peter, well, yeah, if you were to narrow it down and you think it's legit, where would you say Peter's from?
I don't think he's from the South.
Can you say
Okay.
a couple more words, please? Just a few more.
Just say a few more words, Peter, if you would.
Well, what sort of words would you like me to say?
Yeah,
All
you
right.
did it.
Okay.
Philadelphia, London.
Should we go
I think Midlands,
say
like Leah.
Midlands?
Where are you from, Peter?
Well, that's pretty clever because I was born in a city called Leicester, which is in the Midlands.
Wow.
You got the Midlands. You got the whole
Done.
thing.
And how long
But
have
I
you
spent most of my life in London,
All right. And how long have you been in the States?
40 years.
40 years.
Damn.
Good for you, man.
You still sound like that?
Yeah, that has not faded whatsoever.
No.
All right. Well, thank you for playing, Peter. Unfortunately, you didn't stump these guys, but we appreciate you calling in and thank you for listening to the show.
It's like
Thank you. It was
All
all
right.
fun.
Take care, Peter.
normally an accent would go away. That's why the hilarity of having Scotty on Star Trek had that complete.
Yeah, I had when I was a kid, I had a very thick Southern accent.
Right.
I lived in the South growing up, and my parents speak with a Southern accent, but I shook it along the line.
By the way, that was Ralph Bellamy as Randolph Duke in Trading Places.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
very
the
much.
lines, yes.
Yep. All right, let's get another caller. We have William on. Hi, William. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, William, we are playing Brit or not a Brit, and Joel and Leah want to hear your accent, so give us the line, please.
What? Are you kidding? Sundays? I love Sundays. I live for Sundays. The whole family's together. Mum makes brioche. Dad puts the jersey on. We're all watching the game. Yes, it drives me crazy. And yes, I was negative. You didn't even know that I loved it, Nikki, but I did. I just didn't appreciate it or you before.
Okay.
The thing is, he could be a Brit. He
Uh-huh.
could be a performer. He could be performing right now.
Okay, but what do you think if you had to?
My
call
initial instinct was pretend,
I
not
think,
a Brit.
Yes, I don't think he's a Brit, but that was a very good attempt.
But when he said brioche, I died.
Yeah.
William, where are you from?
Yeah, that's not even fair. That was spot on.
Oh, he's from Delco.
All right, William. They found you out, but thanks, man. We appreciate it, buddy. All right, we'll see
That's
you.
pretty.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because all you have to do in many cases is convince people here. And so, you know, the hard part, that's why when you do pass muster, when a Kate Winslet pulls off something as mechanically difficult as a sub-accent, sub-dialect here, it's an amazing thing.
So the way he said yo, he said yo. That's how you say it in Delaware County. In Delco. Yo.
But you can so far, you can hear them trying.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Hard.
Like the Brits are just natural. In
That's
speaking.
why like when Meryl Streep pulled off the Polish accent in Sophie's Choice, you'll have dialogue and dialect coaches on set.
Right,
to
right.
keep- yeah. That's how hard it is.
And by the way, you should visit some of the places that are named for English cities. Like you should definitely go to Chester and Camden and Kensington. No?
No, you won't like it.
You won't make
Those
it
are like
home.
the high crime
Oh,
areas.
really? Yeah.
That was
trying to get us killed.
That was a movie set in Delco. That was Silver Linings Playbook and Bradley Cooper's character.
Ah, thank
Well
you,
done.
Nick, for the clarification. All right, we have another caller on the line. It is Susan. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning.
Okay, Susan, we have Joel and Leah here determining Brit or not a Brit. Could you please read what we sent to you?
When you were making me, didn't you feel a certain inspiration? Almost like your hands were moved by force not of this world. You made this body so that I could come to life.
Okay.
The
let's-
accent was good, but the intonation was all off, wasn't it? What do you think,
Yeah,
Joel?
I don't know. I thought that's really hard to tell because I think it could just be that she's reading a quote that made it sound slightly off.
Do you
but
want her to
still
say
really
brioche?
good.
Just say brioche. No.
All right, Joel, we're going to ask you.
No,
Make a
you know what?
decision.
I'm going to take a risk. Say she's a Brit.
She's a Brit.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
and what do you
let's say
think? Leah?
Brit then.
She says Brit. All right, Susan, where are you from?
I'm from Philly, baby.
I think they really knew.
I think I know. It's just like,
You really knew. But that means Susan is a winner. So, Susan, we're going to get in touch with you and set you up with a prize, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you. This was so fun.
All right,
very
thanks
cool.
for playing along.
Very cool.
All right,
You guys
we
know
have-
what movie that was?
Is that Mannequin?
It is Mannequin. Kim Cattrall and Mannequin. You guys ever see Mannequin? There's Kim Cattrall, the actress from Sex and the City. She's a mannequin in a store in Philadelphia. She comes to life, and
It's a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. Yes, right. It's a documentary, really.
That's why Kim Cattrall looks so plastic now.
oh gosh, you guys.
All right, let's get our next caller. We have Chris. By the way, we have like a dozen of these to do.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
All right, Chris, we are going to get.
See, they already got a taste.
We're gonna need to have you deliver the line. Could you go for it, please?
Now that we know who you are, I know who I am. I'm not a mistake. It all makes sense. In a comic, you know who you can tell who the arch villain's going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero. Most of the times, they're friends, like you and me. I should have known way back when. You know why, David? Because of the kids. They called me Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass. All right. What do you think? Leah, let's go with you.
I was going to say Brit from maybe like the south, maybe somewhere near Essex.
Okay.
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think like
think?
could be a Londoner even.
Be a Londoner.
I think definitely Brit.
Yeah.
Definitely
But
Brit.
then he said glass at the end instead of glass.
Did he?
I was like, wait, what? You've thrown me off the scent.
Sounds then a
I heard
northern
gloss.
Gloss. I heard, yeah,
Gloss.
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 Yeah.
Oh, gloss. It was
Yeah.
the word gloss on the script.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'll
No.
say
It was the word
it's
glass,
glass.
but
Oh, right.
to our ears, we heard him say gloss.
Yeah.
Might be,
I
yeah.
think I heard Glass. I think he's definitely a Brit.
I think me too, yeah.
All right, both of them say a Brit. And Chris, where are you from?
I am a Brit from Hatfield, Hertfordshire.
Yeah, North London.
Did you get it right?
Yeah, well, no, I was wrong, but yeah, London, kind of Londonish.
And where do you call home now, Chris?
Chester County, down in town.
All right, how long have you been in the States?
18 years.
18 years.
Wow,
And the
nice,
fact that
man.
they still retain a substantial part of that, it's pretty amazing.
Except for when saying glass.
Yeah.
So that's because he's lived here then.
Yeah.
So that bit's come out.
Yeah.
So we had and we had this guy as a guest on the show a couple times. Louis Knight.
Yes.
He was a contestant on American Idol.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but he is like the only English person that I have ever heard sing with an English accent.
Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
All right,
Can you do
Chris.
an impression of it?
Chris,
Oh,
thanks
what a
for,
lovely bunch of coconuts.
Chris, thanks for playing, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks.
All right, take care. All right, so you guys are doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Doing pretty
I think
good.
they're
You've
doing
only
damn
missed a
good,
couple
yeah.
of them. All right. Let's get another caller on the line. Oh, what movie was that?
Oh,
from?
Unbreakable.
That was
Samuel L.
Unbreakable.
Jackson.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you. I knew it
Mr.
was-
Glass.
I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but it's an M. Night Shyamalan classic. All right. We have Steven. Hi, Steven.
Morning.
Morning. All right, Steven, we have a... They're like a media.
33 WMMR.
Thank you, Kathy. Real quick, I want to read this email because I think it was around maybe this time yesterday. We talked about this or a little earlier, but I got an email from a guy. And I won't mention their name, but he said, "Thank you for the story the other morning about the pretzel position. My very conservative girlfriend was a willing participant this afternoon, and she loved it.
Wow.
That's great.
And I'm hoping the campout is another huge success."
What kind of mustard do they use?
No, it's not that type of pretzel. So it was a sexual position, and tried it out. So there you go.
Nice. There you go.
If one person was made happy by that conversation, then our job is done here.
Changing one life at a time.
One nut at a time. All right, let's do
Busting one nut at a time.
the bizarre file.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Got junk, want it gone? Then you want J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Veteran and military owned, family owned and operated. Visit J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com. That's J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com. So I saw this story all over the place. A robot meant to lift boxes at a paper sorting plant in South Korea mistook a man for a box of vegetables. It was a pepper sorting plant, I'm sorry. Mistook a man for a box of vegetables and crushed him to death.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the man, described as a robotics company employee, had been checking the sensors on the robot ahead of a test run at the plant. The test run had reportedly been pushed back 2 days due to the robot malfunctioning. As the employee worked late into the night to make sure that the robot would function smoothly, the robotic arm grabbed him and forced him into onto a conveyor belt, crushing his body.
Jesus, what a nightmare.
He was rushed to a hospital, but
Stupid robot.
Succumbed to his injuries. I think about that scene in what's the Tom Cruise in the future, the people that can see the crimes of the future.
Minority Report.
Minority Report, when they're going through the car manufacturing plant, and those robots are just
friggin' nightmare.
Yeah.
That's it. That haunts me.
And
Yeah.
6 sticks.
And 6 sticks,
Yeah.
man. That was from that movie, too, in case you didn't know that. A team of scientists returned to Mexico's parliament yesterday to declare the three-fingered Peruvian mummies unveiled in September as real, but refused to say whether or not they were aliens.
They're not real.
I know. One doctor claimed the specimens were a new species that did not have lungs or ribs.
Yeah, right.
On September 13th, journalist and UFO enthusiast Jamie Maussan had shocked the world by unveiling 2 small mummified bodies he said were evidence of non-human life forms on Earth. Politicians were told that the corpses were estimated to be 1,000 years old.
You've got to be kidding.
The specimens were reported to have been found alongside at least one other in a Peruvian algae mine, sparking a minor diplomatic tiff in the process, given the country's authorities were not made aware of the discovery. However, scientists across the world, especially in Mexico, were immediately skeptical and quick to dismiss the claim. In response, Mr. Maussan returned to Congress on Tuesday in a bid to prove the bodies, not on display this time, were legitimate, bringing with him a string of doctors who all said the bodies were those of real, once-living organisms. He also showed more images of the bodies, including a new unseen specimen that appeared to have flat, elongated heads and limbs with 3 fingers and toes.
These doctors were credentialed?
I don't know what the story is with these doctors, man. I'm not sure about that. So
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
yeah, anthropologist Roger Zuniga of San Luis Gonzaga National University in Peru said researchers had studied 5 similar specimens over 4 years, and Mr. Zuniga said they're real. He said there was
Those aliens are real.
There was absolutely no human intervention in the physical and biological formation of these beings. However, he added he didn't know the origins of the beings.
All right.
He also presented a letter signed by 11 researchers from the university declaring the same. The letter made clear, however, that they were not implying the bodies were extraterrestrial.
These things are laughable. This is what like an elementary school kid would make if he was sculpting an alien.
Yeah. It's not the first time Mr. Malzahn has presented specimens he claims are non-human life forms, with previous efforts having been discredited and proven to be distinctly human-made hoaxes. So we'll wait and see if there's more on this. All right, one man's long-standing history of making threats toward a nearby wedding venue culminated with him launching a firework at a helicopter carrying a newly married couple, Georgia deputies say. A deputy was working as security at an October 20th wedding when he heard a mortar firework hurtling towards a departing helicopter carrying the newlyweds. After further investigation, the sheriff's office issued a warrant for David Jeter on a charge of making terroristic threats. The officer was aware that other issues had occurred at Rockies Lake Estate, where the wedding was being held. Yeah. Deputy said that the
Welcome to my wedding estate. I'm so happy to have you here.
The owner, William Morris Rocky, had a particular problem with Jeter, who is accused of making threats against employees and wedding guests before.
You're in that helicopter, and you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist, and I'm after you, buddy.
Will you?
Deputies, let me see here.
Please calm down.
Jeter lives just 470 feet away from Rockies Lake Estate in Woodstock and has repeatedly harassed passersby. To access parts of the venue, deputies said guests would need to take a golf cart that would drive past Jeter's house, where he would make sideways motions with his neck, with his hands.
As if slitting their throats.
I guess so, and saying, "Don't do it" to guests. A disorderly conduct report was filed against him in 2022. Now, on the night of the incident, the bride and groom celebrating the end of their wedding at Rockies boarded a helicopter about 9:45 p.m. Around that time, the officer was told by an employee that Jeter was outside of his home yelling in anger. You're in that helicopter. He was out there yelling.
That helicopter.
Yep. The helicopter.
That ain't you. You're in that helicopter.
That ain't you.
You're in that helicopter.
That ain't you.
You're in that helicopter.
No, that ain't you.
I want to kiss you.
Oh, my God.
The helicopter.
I want to kiss you.
You want to kiss me?
Okay. The helicopter lifted off about 15 minutes later, and while flying off, many people in the venue heard a firework shoot off and explode, and it came in close proximity to the helicopter as it was still low, the officer said.
Wow.
The owner suspected Jeter may have launched the rocket. He had mentioned in previous encounters that he was protesting the wedding venue. To check if he had discharged an explosive, Morris contacted his daughter, who had a camera nearby. She lives nearby, and they found out that it came from his home. So the guy did it. As a result of the incident, the officer said they had a probable cause to charge him with terroristic acts. He was booked into jail. Yeah.
I heard that the helicopter blares a song every single time that they take off, and it goes something like this.
You raise me up.
So, dude's going. Okay.
Oh, my God.
One last story. A group of swimmers who were swimming from San Francisco to Alcatraz on Saturday had a close call with a massive cargo ship that unexpectedly cut off their path.
Wow. Francisco, that's fun to say.
The Coast Guard is currently investigating the incident. Video of the incident shows the massive cargo vessel cruising directly through the area where the swimmers were.
You think you'd want to plan that out.
Well, an unidentified voice can be heard saying in the video, we got to have the Coast Guard or somebody check back there by the boat, because there may have been swimmers that may have been swept into it. No one was injured. The Coast Guard vessels were deployed to the incident at the time that it occurred, or no Coast Guard vessels.
They talked to a witness on the scene, Preston.
You're in that helicopter.
We're looking at the footage.
Scary. That's terrifying. So the course that the swimmers were on had been cleared by the Coast Guard. According to Odyssey Open Water Swimming, the group that organized the swim, it had been granted a permit approximately a year in advance. All the swimmers in the water at the time of the incident finished the swim. Once they reached the shore, they were checked out by staff. But everything was on the up and up, and we don't know how the ship ended up in that area. But
Years
that would have
ago,
been terrifying.
We were on we had a 17-foot runabout. We were on the Long Island Sound, and it was in the evening, and we are moving along, Preston, and we see, as we're moving along, a cable suddenly come out of like a light fog.
Whoa.
Oh,
and the
my
cable's
God.
like dead ahead of us. And so we were moving towards a tugboat pulling a cargo.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And we were
pulling a barge,
a barge in colliding with that. But you wouldn't. There's nothing that would tell you it was there.
No, wow, that can be scary, and that's when those things happen, man. Those accidents. All right, let's give away another $50 gift card for Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. And Geno's joins other Philly favorites in the casino. We'll take caller number 20 at 215-263-WMMR. Termini Brothers, Lorenzo and Sons, Sankey Noodle Bar and Kitchen. It's turning 10th Street Market into the ultimate destination for a taste of classic Philly flavor right in the heart of the Stadium District.
Geno's at the casino.
How about that? What? So we'll take the 20th caller. We'll set you up at that 215-263-WMMR. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us. Their decisions when people say good morning. All right, Stephen, do us a favor and read the line we sent you.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. It'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody's going to hit as hard as life, but it ain't how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hit and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you are because of him, her, or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Right. Did it
Yeah,
start
better
off,
than that.
It started off like Scouse, then it went Scottish. It was like Liverpool, Scottish.
Do you know what? His Scottish accent is better than mine.
Yeah.
So if you're to say Brit or not a Brit, what do you think, Joel?
I'll go not a Brit.
Yeah.
Not a Brit.
No,
All right.
sorry.
Stephen, where are you from?
I'm from South Jersey.
But I love that. That's a great quote from Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, he was hitting some of them pretty
Too
solid.
well.
Like the word hit, he said het.
Yeah.
Instead with more of an A.
I like
E
that
sound.
he did like a Scottish version rather than going for like our accent.
That was brilliant.
What were you saying, Stephen?
I was going for a North England Geordie accent.
So he knows his stuff. That's actually where Stallone is from.
All right, thanks for playing, Stephen. Have a good one, man. All right.
Have a good one.
If you're just tuning in, we have Joel and Leah who are here in the States. They do a YouTube series, and they cover American culture, British culture, kind of compare the two, try some things out over here. Sample a little bit.
It's wonderful watching, and they're very much likable. So and people love to see the differences.
Yes. And by the way, I saw BuzzFeed has all these great lists that pop up all the time, and there was one that was showing American sections of grocery stores around the world. And so usually there's a small rack of stuff for maybe who's a tourist or somebody who lives that then go get some of their creature comforts as far as food goes. And you know what I noticed on every single one of those photos? What do you think? What item, if you were to guess?
That is considered expressly American.
Yeah, it was very easy to spot by the packaging. Very bright packaging. It's a candy. I'll give you that.
Circus peanuts?
No.
Candy.
Circus peanuts.
M&M's.
No.
No?
It's a candy.
Yeah.
Skittles.
No. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Ah.
On every single photo that I saw all around the world. I'm like, okay, yeah,
So
sure.
not circus peanuts.
I'd want them.
Yeah, it's funny because my friend Helen hates American candy, and I can't stand British candy. I just
Ooh,
and she
I
offered-
like British candy.
Yeah, I can't do it, and they offer because we were all at the same restaurant last Saturday, and she had a big box of British chocolate. I was like, no thanks, that's I'm okay with that. Which is crazy because I love chocolate, but she says that American chocolate tastes like vomit.
Yeah, it really does.
It's been like a test. They've tested it. The compound in American chocolate, I think it's the milk powder that they use, does to British taste like vomit.
That's why Hershey smells like vomit chocolate. It's
We
vile.
just can't eat
Oh my
it.
God.
But
So
it's
we-
also why Americans wouldn't like British chocolate.
I do like British chocolate, though. I like
I do
dark
too.
chocolate, though.
Okay.
Oh, you're fancy.
There we go.
All right, we have 4 more to go with Brit or not a Brit. So let's get our next caller on the line. It's Carl. Hey there, Carl.
Morning, it.
All right, morning it to you, sir. All right, Carl, we sent you a movie line. Could you please give it for Joel and Leah?
Sure. Oh. See, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put y'all in the poorhouse at the same time. He didn't think we could do it. I won. Trading Places.
All right, that's from Trading Places, the movie. Okay.
He doesn't actually say in the movie.
Brit or not a Brit? Let's start with you, Leah.
I go Brit, maybe from Manchester.
All right.
Union.
Yeah,
How about
I think
you,
he's
Joel?
being sneaky. He's definitely a Brit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Northern.
Carl, where are you from?
I'm from Harrogate, North Yorkshire.
Okay. All right, they got it. They got it right.
Well, you guys are good.
Did you nail the region? Is that anywhere near?
Well,
No?
yeah,
Well,
he's
it is
Yorkshire,
north,
he's north, but we thought
North is
Mancunian.
very generic.
Yeah.
So,
What
I
is
don't
the
think we just have a point.
TH is an F?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's just
both.
like both. That doesn't belong to any region. That's just like relaxed speech. I
Yeah,
guess.
just a little shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Adele actually does that. I think she'll use
Yeah.
an F instead of the TH.
A lot. She does a lot.
Yeah. And why is Liverpudlian so sing-songy? Like when Steve does his
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, it's really up and down. And
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I don't know
It's
why.
just-
I
it's
really
kinda
like it.
what?
It's got a
Yeah.
but the only thing about Liverpudlian accent I don't like is the K's. So when they say Coke, they'd say Coke.
Chicken and a can
It's
of
like a
Coke.
It's
Really?
not a very nice sound.
That's almost Hasidic here. Like
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it, man.
This is my rabbi.
Yeah. How about, speaking of pronunciations, a popular one in slang is bruv.
Bruv.
With a V on the end,
Ted
which is short
Lasso?
for brother, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose so.
Or you
brother,
can say
bruv.
it to anyone.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bruv.
It's
Or
like a bro here, like we say, "What's
Yeah.
up, bro?" You know. So,
Yeah.
but we don't do the V, but that's one I've found that's very, very common.
This is my brother.
Yeah. Has anybody made you aware of John yet?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
John.
okay.
In
John.
Urban Outfitters, that man
Oh.
taught us John.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking about John, a person. I'm like, where is this John person?
JAWN.
We learnt that. We learnt that, yeah.
Doesn't it just mean anything? Like
Yes.
this water
To
bottle,
now.
like, oh,
Yeah.
this John of water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You could literally say this John of John.
This John of John.
Yeah, because the
Wow.
John is the bottle and the John is the water as well. So.
Were you just at an
Wow.
Urban Outfitters store? Were you shopping?
Yeah, we were just having a look around, and then randomly one of the employees, lovely man, would start just teaching us Philly slang. Lovely.
I don't think they'd ever seen Londoners before.
Yeah.
Because
You
then
know-
we heard him going around going, they're from London.
Oh my God, it was
They look human.
You know what? I'm going to tell you about this city that you may find surprising because Philadelphia has a reputation for being a bit cold and well, not cold, but rude
Rough, yes.
and tough. But
No.
when I have brought people in from out of town and I'll show them around the city, I kid you not, they can tell. You know, like I remember pointing up at City Hall and mentioning Billy Penn's hat and so on. A person came along wearing I think they were wearing a Rocky shirt. And just started jumping in on the conversation
Right.
and offering up, and they were like, "Oh, you know, there's a little version of the statue on the Comcast building."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I know," and so they just started sharing information. I think you'll be surprised to find out how friendly people actually
They are. They really
here
are.
and want to show you. People are very proud of this city, extremely proud of this city, and will want to offer up, hey, here's some slang for you guys, you know, to kind of help you out around town.
Yeah, I don't think it gets enough limelight, does it?
Yeah.
Philadelphia?
Well, we've got some stuff like the Love Statue, for example.
Did you know Urban Outfitters headquarters are in Philadelphia? If you go down South Broad Street in the Navy Yard, that's where their headquarters are. It's a pretty cool place.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
so cool.
3 more for Brit or not a Brit.
Okay.
I have John. Good morning, John.
Is this a John or
This is a John. Not a John. All right, John, are you ready to try this?
Ready to go, Rob.
All right, let's hear it. Here we go.
I was a slut. There will always be a part of me that's dirty and sloppy, but I like that. Just like all the other parts of myself. I can forgive. Can you say the same for yourself? Can you forgive? Are you capable of that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's good.
They're a little confused. Let's see if we can get an actual answer. Leah, what do you think?
I think he's a Brit.
Okay, what do you think, Joel?
Yeah, I think a Brit. From London, I think.
Yeah.
London.
That accent was definitely like Cockney style, East London, wasn't it?
Okay. John, where are you from?
Well, I'm not a slut, but I'm 100% American.
Somebody get
Well
him a
done,
beach.
John.
We have a winner.
Hey.
Nice. It
Good.
says here you're from South Jersey.
I'm from South Jersey, Sewell, New Jersey.
Nice. Where did you pick up this ability to mimic the accent?
Watch a lot of YouTube, Preston.
Watch
Good
you
one.
watch them. Yes. absolutely.
Yeah, make sure you watch Joel and Leah. You'll love it, man.
Perfect your accent.
Absolutely.
All right, John, we'll be in touch. We'll get you something for your trouble, my friend. All right, we'll go for 2 more.
Also, Silver Linings Playbook. That line, yes, it was
yeah.
Tiffany, yeah.
Thank you. All right, Catherine, are you there?
I am. Morning.
All right, we have 2 Brits here that are going to try and determine whether or not you're faking it. Let's hear you deliver the Philadelphia-centric movie line we sent you for them. Go ahead.
Hey woman, listen here. Since your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I'll tell you what. Bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man.
Okay.
Do you know that line, Preston?
I don't. What is that?
Rocky 3.
Yeah, it's Clubber Lang.
Oh, man.
Remember when they're standing in front of the Rocky statue? Your woman! Bring your woman over here! I'll show you what a real man is.
I haven't seen Rocky 3 in so long. Okay, let's go to Joel and see if he can determine Brit or not a Brit.
I thought she was very good, but I think not a Brit. I think California.
California.
Valley girl.
I thought it was a very, lovely, eloquent delivery, but I think not a Brit, so I'd be very surprised.
Catherine, where are you from?
Originally from Lancaster.
All right, Lancaster, PA. All right.
Well done.
You didn't get it past them, but thank you very much for helping out. All right,
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we have one more to go in Brit or not a Brit, and the final person is Robert. Robert, are you there?
Top of the morning it.
All right, top of the morning it to you. All right, Robert, we sent you a movie line from Philadelphia. Go ahead and give it to us, please.
You know where Southpaw comes from, I'll tell you. A long time ago, there was this guy, maybe a couple of hundred years ago. He was fighting around, I think it was around Philadelphia, and his arm, he was left-handed, and his arm was facing toward New Jersey, you see, and that's south. So then naturally they call him Southpaw. You see, Southpaw. South Jersey, South Camden, Southpaw. You know what I mean?
That's from Rocky Balboa.
Yes, yeah.
remember
when they were
that.
on the ice skating rink.
What's that?
Number
Rocky.
Oh,
Not Rocky Balboa. Yeah, he's skating around with Adrian.
That's in the
ice
South
skating
Pole,
rink.
South,
Right.
South Philadelphia, South America, South, North, a direction, as in directions you might go, one of them being south.
And that's where we got it.
Yeah.
Joel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Brit. I think he's from Highland.
Oh, poor man. He probably doesn't want to identify as British, does he?
Yeah,
And
what
he's
about-
Irish, yeah.
You think he's Irish?
Yeah, I don't want to offend any because Irish people don't like to be called British, but for the sake of the game, British.
follow you.
Okay.
But
All right.
I think Irish.
Robert, where were you born?
Glasgow, Scotland.
How did we get that
so we
wrong?
got it so wrong.
That's
I'm sorry, but that was
embarrassing.
so Irish.
Is that offensive to him?
You know what? I think Scottish and Irish get annoyed at English people for mixing up the accent.
You're right.
Oh, we've just done.
I'm
done him
so
wrong.
sorry.
You guys are so right because one of my favorite vacations my wife and I took was to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And that is clearly something they're not fond of having the accent, the dialect confused. Yes.
No, I'm so sorry. We're such idiot English people.
Robert,
So sorry,
Robert,
mate.
can you get past this comment they made?
I identify as Scottish, so I'm okay with it.
You identify as
Where do you live now, by the way?
I live in Wilmington, Delaware, but I work in Delco.
Okay, you're at
Delco.
How long have you been in the States?
15 years.
15
years. All right, man. Well, thank you for playing along. We appreciate that.
Cheers.
All right,
All right,
take care.
take care,
All right, there you go. Brit or
Well
not a Brit. All right, so
By the way, you guys killed it. You did a great job.
yeah, how did they? Did anybody keep score?
Yes. Somehow Joel ended up winning. 7-6.
That's what we said would happen. He's the linguist.
7-6.
Yeah, Joel got one right that Leah got wrong.
And then we had how many on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 11, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
I think that's damn good.
Absolutely. It's a difficult thing, especially over a phone.
Yeah. There were a couple.
33 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. I've got my finger on the pulse of the city. And it's time to walk the beat, friends, because I've got stories to share with you.
Scoobly wow wow, he pounds the beat with those oh so sensual feet. It's Preston Elliott.
All right, we're going to start with a little in the burbs, but
The burbs?
This is quite interesting. As many U.S. shopping malls continue to struggle, business appears to be booming in King of Prussia.
King of Prussia, for the longest time, has been, I think, one of the top 3 most lucrative malls in the country.
Well, and it's because not only is it a large mall and it has lots to shop, and it always has.
Shake Shack.
Well, now they
2 of them.
have 2 Shake Shacks. No, it's because part of it is because of that higher end hallway that they put in, because those stores you can't shop everywhere. You can shop online for that stuff, but that's the only place, one of the only places in the area to go to walk into the store, and for a lot of them.
By the way, I got this story from the Philly Voice. And yeah, Kathy, they're going to be, excuse me,
They're planning next year to open 20 new stores.
Yeah, and some of those new stores are same along
They
that
are.
luxury brand.
I've got a list of them.
Oh, do you?
Not all of them, but some of the luxury brands. I'm always blown away when I go through there and walk through that particular area where the really, the Versace's and the David Yurman and
Louis
all
Vuitton.
those all that stuff is there. I mean, they're busy. Not all those stores have a lot of people in them, but I see people walk. There's some filthy rich people walking
Tons
around.
of money? Mansion people.
For real.
Yeah.
And I people watch while I'm there too to try and pick out the ones, and you can see, the clothes they're wearing and what they're doing. And I'm always like, man, we have a lot of rich people around here.
You know what it is, though?
That's
where brown becomes marron glacé.
Marron glacé.
I will say this, is that, but that makes it a destination. You're right, Kathy. That is because you don't see that collection of stores,
not in a mall.
Not in a mall.
Ever.
And that's how malls survive. You got to have a hook.
But not anywhere. Like King of Prussia, for some of those stores, it's the only location in this area, in the Philadelphia, in the Delaware Valley. So if you want to see it, if you want to see it in person, that's where you have to go.
I remember last time we had John O'Hurley by here. He was in for the dog show, and his wife came with him. And he was talking about King of Prussia because she likes to go there.
Yeah.
He was talking about Neiman Marcus, and he referred to it as the mothership for his wife. So here are a few of the stores that they're going to add next year. Dior. Yep. Okay. The French luxury fashion retailer.
This is our realm now, Preston. We live and breathe Dior.
They'll bring its high-end inventory of men's and women's clothing and all accessories, fragrances, beauty products to the mall. The retailer opened its first store in Paris in 1946 and now has more than 200 locations worldwide, and one of them will be at the King of Prussia Mall.
Do they have a Fruit of the Loom store over there?
I don't know. Okay. We'll look into it. Oak and Fort.
Oak and Fort
is a Canadian retailer and known for its accessible luxury fashion and minimalist aesthetic.
Yeah, so places like Oak and Fort, they're bringing these new higher end brands in. So you probably have never heard of that before, right?
But it's Canadian,
yeah. Yep. And they're going to bring it in. And don't worry, guys, it's stuff you can afford.
Oh, right.
No.
It has been aggressively expanding its U.S. footprint over the last few years. Earlier this year, it opened a new location in the Cherry Hill Mall, by the way.
So you said it's Oak and Fort?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Oak and Fort. Then there's a place called Mango. Mango is
I'm very excited.
Mango is a Spanish fast fashion retailer with more than 2,400 stores worldwide. Kathy, what's fast fashion?
Fast fashion is like H&M, Forever 21, Target's fast fashion. They get the trend, they make it right away, and they put it in the store.
With the feel and energy of, say, a Barcelona?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Wait, I'm sorry. Oak and Fort, I was wrong about it. It's not super high end. Preston, you probably you would think it would be too expensive, but it's not the ridiculous $5,000 jackets.
Okay, it's the $2,000.
No. It's like a couple $100. I was thinking of a different store.
Yeah.
So Mango is the Spanish fast fashion.
Welcome to Mango. May I
Just a
help
little
you?
bit of a reminder, a word to the wise, if you will. Do not worry about the worries from yesterday. Leave it in the past. Move forward with confidence.
Now, this is really funny if you see the video.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a guy with an accent
Sounds like
speaking.
Fez, yeah.
But
Because there are so many new things to be experienced today. New joy to be had. So move forward, be strong, and have a great rest of your day.
you need to see it. But Casey was insisting that we play that. It's very, very funny. But anyhow, so there are, it says it's not as well, Mango is not as well known as some American fast fashion brands like Zara and H&M. The company is hoping to change that by growing its U.S. footprint to a total of 40 stores by 2024.
What store in that line there is the most expensive, Kathy? I mean, are we talking? Which one is known for the most expensive?
Well, out of what he listed so far.
No, he means in that area. So there's Louis Vuitton, there's Cartier, there's all of them. There's
Chanel?
Versace, there's
Tiffany.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all in the same ballpark, you know.
And because they each have something, you know, they have their own brand. They're pretty, like, if you were to shop the rest of the mall, you could walk in Nordstrom, you could walk in Zara or wherever, and you'll find similar items. You go into these store, you're getting you're getting the Louis Vuitton, bag. You're getting the whatever Chanel bracelet, whatever it is.
So a lot of times I'll see coupons for these places in Town Talk, and I'll go.
Oh, that's weird.
Another place opening is Intimissimi.
Ooh,
an Italian lingerie retailer.
We had a calendar girl who modeled for them, and she came to Emma Barbecue this year. Julie Nicole, remember Julie?
Yeah, she's great.
She used to work at that one. I think Preston, there's one in Cherry Hill Mall, and I believe she worked there. Anyway, it's been around for a little while.
Okay, yeah. Then Cherry Hill's got some high end stuff. That they have Oaken Fort there too. They will join the influx of international clothing brands that are invading King of Prussia Mall next year. With its inventory of bras, briefs, lingerie, pajamas, and other intimate apparel.
I think that's already there at the King of Prussia Mall.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not according to this.
Yeah, I think either it's moving or maybe it's new, but it's already open.
Okay. Other new stores coming to the King of Prussia Mall next year include women's casual wear retailer Evereve, a menswear store called Collars and Company,
and Skidmark.
Nope, and Grand Jewelers, a jewelry retailer with a store inside of the Willow Grove Mall, although not the same one that found itself at the center of an international scandal involving former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Thank you. Earlier this year.
So, wow, I didn't even know about the scandal nor the store. So,
now we do.
2 new restaurants will be opening up at King of Prussia Mall. You have a Lazy Dog restaurant, which offers American comfort food, and K-Pot, which offers Korean barbecue and hot pot.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear Korean food is quite wonderful.
I like
very
it.
much.
Oh,
It's
we're
very,
gonna have,
very healthy for you.
We're going to have some sort of a Korean mixture at the Food Trucks and Fireworks.
Yeah, it's called, hang on, that's the list right
Oh,
there. Hang on, because we mentioned.
Second one down.
No, Korea Taqueria.
Yeah.
Which is a Korean and Mexican blend. So King of Prussia Mall boasted, listen to this, they boasted record sales over the last few years.
That's amazing.
That's an anomaly is what that is. The mall, which has more than 450 retailers in its 2.9 million square foot space, added more than 40 new stores over the last 2 years. That's crazy. Why this one place does so well.
I think you said it. I think because there's a lot of filthy rich, tons of money that shop there.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in our area.
I know that kiosk that sells barbecue equipment that has teams on it.
Yes.
I know that does well.
And by the way, that whole King of Prussia area has just been expanding so much over the past 5 years. It's really a cool spot. You know, like if I were younger, if I were in my 20s and looking for a place to put down roots or to start living, like that area over there that's across from the mall where, Fogo de Chão and all that is.
Yeah,
I would live there and it would never leave. What's it called?
Town Center.
I would never leave.
It's pretty
amazing.
Everything you need.
It's really nice.
Right
there.
around there.
It used to be a golf course, that whole area.
I remember. It was at Valley Forge.
Yeah, I think it was like George Washington Golf Course or something like that.
I think it was called Valley Forge.
Yeah, I think it was called Valley Forge Golf Course.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I played there a couple
George
times.
Washington was a member.
It was public, and you could shank balls right into traffic on 202 or 422.
It's made it fun.
Yeah.
Well, but adding that has, like, people come to say that the traffic in King of Prussia, now that, all of those luxury apartments have gone up, is just like, it's out of hand.
Well, when you're sitting in traffic and feeling stressed, just remember.
Just a little bit of a reminder, a word to the wise, if you will. Do not worry about the worries from yesterday. Leave it in the past. Move forward with confidence, because there are so many new things to be experienced today.
All right.
We're going to have to share that so people understand.
Yeah, you got to see it. The guy keeps sticking his tongue out while he's saying it. It's very, very funny. All right, back to the beat. Let's beat the meat. I'm the meat behind the beat.
Yes. Either or, your choice.
Yeah, one or the other. So Mitchell and Ness is set to release a replica of the Kelly Green Eagles jacket that Princess Diana made famous in the 1990s.
That's
I
pretty
think they
wild.
did already, right?
They are set to release it, according to this story that I read this morning. Marissa brought me up to the Here, I'll just turn your microphone on. Go ahead.
It's today at 10 a.m. Can I leave and go get in line, guys?
Today at 10 a.m.
Is this the one that Jason Kelsey's wife was wearing?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so they released a photo a couple of days ago, and it's it's nice. I was looking at it actually. I'm like, that's way Eagles. Like, I don't know that. I don't think I would purchase.
You wouldn't wear
that?
that?
No, like I know, sweatshirt, t-shirt,
Sure,
whatever.
yeah,
But that's
sure.
like you're hardcore if you get that.
Oh my God, Kathy, my text threads have been going crazy. My friend down in Florida is like, who's going to line up and get it? We're talking about what time do you think the line started at Mitchell & Ness this morning? It's at Mitchell & Ness and the Pro Shop.
Yeah, it's not like an everyday jacket.
No.
You know,
I like it.
I'm going to wear it to the game type of jacket.
It's a game day jacket.
Yeah.
It's $400 online.
Oh, that's it?
You can get it at the flagship store in Center City. It's also going to be stocked by various retailers, including Fanatics. Is that a lot? I don't know. I don't buy sports
$400 for a jacket
merch.
But it's
so-
Mitchell & Ness, so I'm not necessarily surprised at the price tag. But I mean, it's always quality stuff.
I do love their stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a few Mitchell & Ness items, jackets, shirts, sweatshirts, and stuff. And I'm telling you, like, when you get that stuff, the quality of the material is like top notch.
Oh, it's still remember when they sent us that huge box of like
Yeah.
every sports team was in there? I still have that
Kathy,
stuff.
someone stole one of my favorite hoodies ever from them.
so mad.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. But I miss it every day.
I have a vintage Phillies Mitchell & Ness jacket, and when we went to spring training and it was 30 degrees in Clearwater, I wore that and kept me nice and warm.
Nice. Princess Diana famously wore the jacket while dropping off her sons at school in London in 1991, and she was also photographed wearing the jacket when she took the boys to a theme park in England 3 years later. People magazine ran one of the photographs on its June 13th, 1994 magazine cover. Last month, NFL Countdown explained the story behind the jacket. So Eagles statistician Jack Edelstein met Diana while at Grace Kelly's funeral in Monaco. And of course, she's from Philadelphia, was from Philadelphia. Diana did not have any interest in football, but she liked the jacket and the green and silver colors. And that prompted Edelstein to, with approval from the Eagles owner at the time, to send a custom jacket to her.
Wow. That's awesome.
So she liked the design, she liked the way it looked, and she didn't request it, but she showed an affinity for it, and he got her a copy of it.
So I wonder if there's any plans
replica.
to release a replica of the Flyers jersey that Queen Elizabeth wore during her coronation.
Oh, well, you would think so.
Yeah, because it's so famous.
Yeah. Maybe they'll wait for an anniversary or something.
I wear this jersey.
Rob McElhenney bid over $10,000 for this jacket for Eagles autism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is cool.
That's amazing. All right, let's go somewhere else. How about this? By the end of this year, SEPTA will stop accepting transit fare tokens as payment for riding on the city's buses, trolleys, and subways. They'll stop on January 1st, by the way. The multi-year phase-out of SEPTA tokens will finally come to its conclusion nearly 6 years after the Transit Authority stopped selling them to riders.
So I got a call yesterday, Preston. I understand they're only going to accept crypto and Apple iTunes.
Oh?
Yeah.
I wouldn't fall for it, Steve. Since then, SEPTA has developed new payment methods, and SEPTA Key, the authority's contactless chip-based fare payment card was announced in 2012, fully rolled out in 2019. More recently, they enacted a more efficient contactless payment system that lets riders pay for tips and by tapping a credit card or mobile payment-enabled smartphone upon boarding, effectively bypassing the SEPTA Key card and the lines that sometimes form at the fare kiosks. Although SEPTA announced that it would stop selling transit tokens in 2018, the authority has continued to accept them as fare payment. But after December 31st, they are going to be worthless. I mean, for fares anyway. They might have a collector's value to them.
Will you pay with your, will you do the tab on the credit card? Will you pay with your phone? What are you more inclined to pay when you have the option?
Credit card.
Credit card, right.
Yeah.
Just tap
I'll use
it.
the phone sometimes, but for the most part, it's so easy to just tap the,
Do you know,
the card.
I was stunned to find out how few people will accept a CB radio.
Really? No.
It's tapping away. Nothing.
I was wondering if you think we'll ever get to a point, and I feel like we will, where you'll
Beer
pay
credits?
No, you'll pay for things with retinal scans or fingerprint scans or face
They're already sort of flirting with that case. Sort of like a biometric credit card that's in your person, basically.
Aren't there things in the in Revelations or something like that about us having numbers on us or something like that is demonic.
If
or
it's
you know what I
scary,
mean?
it's there.
Yeah. And that is, some people look at that type of technology, implanted technology, or things like that as a sign of
your visa bill,
the end times, and all that. So, but I wouldn't doubt it, Casey.
Yeah.
Retinal scans, and I mean already now on my current computer, my laptop, my Apple, I use a fingerprint to unlock it.
Don't you love it?
Yeah,
Don't
it's
you
great.
freaking love it?
Absolutely.
And by the way, when you purchase things and you purchase through your computer, same thing. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
And in fact, Kathy, Global Entry, which I have now, it uses facial recognition.
Yeah.
You don't bring a card, you don't give a number, nothing.
That blew my wife away.
You just walk through and it recognizes you. So there's that case as well.
How quickly you process through, right?
Yeah.
Does it happen to say, wow, you were good looking? You can go through.
Yeah, you can. It's like Studio
Is this
54.
Preston?
Yeah. It's Studio 54. Some people, they just won't let.
Take that mess home.
So Philadelphians have used transit fare tokens since the mid-1800s.
Wow.
When the city's first streetcar lines and trolleys, which were drawn by horses at the time, began using them. So that is
Where'd you put the tokens in the horse's ass?
This is a long time tradition that is coming to an absolute end.
So do you think there'd be any merit to saving a few for collections?
Yeah, because they're you're not going to be able to use them for anything else.
Right.
May as well hang on to them. All right, one more.
Oh,
one more.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I know we got Joe DeRosa coming up. I got another story here. So a new proposal, Steve, and you're going to love this. Maybe you're going to like it because it's not going to be here, but at least it'll save it. New proposal could send the rusting remains of the SS United States return to New York after spending nearly 30 years on the Delaware River in South Philadelphia. According to the United States Conservancy, they released development plans in conjunction with two New York firms, which would see the ocean liner repurposed into a 1,000-room hotel with space for music and event venues, public green space, and a museum.
What the hell have I been saying?
Yeah, but they don't want to do it here.
Son of a bitch.
Organizers said the effort would be part of a decades-long effort to protect and revitalize the Hudson River waterfront, which we've said forever. They need to fix the waterfront in Philadelphia. It's got so much potential.
So my whole idea, well, other people have had the idea as well, is to turn that into sort of our Queen Mary.
Yep.
Yeah. Hotel setup, an attraction, everything.
Yep.
I want to get on that damn ship.
According to a statement from the Conservancy, the release of the plan comes at a time when the vessel is under pressure to move and is facing eviction.
They're charging, like the per day charge to keep it moored where it is ridiculous.
Yeah, they said we're quickly running out of time. We know this can be a viable, transformative project. Let's rally together to secure a home for America's flagship.
It's a historical ship. It's haunted, supposedly. I love it.
So the plan would call for the development of piers to create, would entail the redesign and reconstruction of adjacent piers, which would create acres of new public green space aboard the vessel and adjoining areas.
Steve, I don't disagree with anything you've said, but I would rather it go to New York and become a hotel than continue to sit where it is now.
Oh, no, I agree. With nothing happening, make return it to some sort of glory.
How do they get it up there, though?
They're going to mail it.
No, they'll tow it.
I know, but you can't go all the way up to Delaware, can you?
If you go up to Delaware, you're not going to get to New York.
You're not going to get to New York. You got to go all the way out and around.
You got to go down to Cape May.
Yeah.
But I've said this before, but Philadelphia has more waterfront property than does New York, and we just don't take advantage of it. It's mind-boggling.
It's been the bane of our proverbial existence here. But I would say this: listen, we couldn't get a fire truck, but what if we pitched in and bought an ocean liner?
Ocean liner?
Yeah.
We could take that to appearances and stuff.
Absolutely. Come down and see the Preston Steve ship tonight.
The USS PNS.
Yeah.
USS PNS. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It'll be McDade Bowl.
Dude, we can't even get Minerva anywhere.
Guys, it is way too expensive for these appearances to move an entire ship.
In the long run, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, you watch.
Right.
By the way, I don't know what the timeline is for this to happen. I have no
Next
idea.
Tuesday.
It says organizers are now working to secure state and local interest and advance the plan in New York City.
Well, City Beater, if I may jump in here.
Please.
If before this happens, if anyone in any position of power or any way, if there's any way to take a peek in this ship and walk around, because it one time was the fastest passenger liner on Earth.
Have you reached out to the Conservancy?
I have not. But that's so obvious, and I'm dumb.
Yeah, they've reached out to us.
Have they?
Yeah. They've extended to you directly an invite. But we just
The one thing is you have to get it to McDade Bowl.
No, you got to open that email, I guess.
All right. Well, anyhow, that's it. That's what's going on in the city. Once again for you this morning, friends, the City Beat. And we'll do it again another time. I want to take a break, but I'd also like to give some away. We've been eating Gino's cheese sticks this morning here in the studio, and that's because our friends at Live Casino Hotel Philadelphia brought them in, and I have a $50 gift card for Live, and we'll take caller number 19 at 215-263-WMMR. We'll set you up with that. And from Gino's world-famous menu, guests enjoy 5 types of sizzling steak sandwiches, plus another Philly staple, the Italian hoagie, and, of course, a side of cheese fries to complete the meal. 215-263-WMMR. That's the number. As we are taking a break, a reminder that Nick McElwain has an appearance tonight.
Yeah.
It is the Thursday night kickoff event, and he'll be at Liberty Union Chester Springs.
Is he bringing the ship?
In Chester Springs from 7 to 9. Free MMR, Bud Light Kelly Green T-shirts, $3.50 bottle Bud Light bottles, $3 Ultra bottles, $5 Big Wave drafts. And you can get registered to win a chance of a pair of Eagles tickets for the December 3rd game against San Francisco, courtesy of Bud Light. So stop by and see him tonight. Liberty Union, Chester Springs, in Chester Springs from 7 to 9. We'll be back. Joe DeRosa joining us when we return. Yep. You can tell right away. Just trying a little bit too hard.
When Joel and Leah started laughing
Yeah.
immediately on something,
I have a sixth sense. I see dead people. No, that's Japanese.
Now, to put you guys on the spot, do you have any American accent that you try to pull off?
No, we can only do generic Valley Girl, can't
Generic, yeah.
Okay.
Valley Girl.
do
Try,
that.
give it a shot.
we? Okay, so give us something to say and then.
That's the hard part, is coming up with
okay.
something.
We can just
Tell us what you're doing today.
Okay, so today we are going to Preston and Steve, and then after that we are gonna try a Philly cheesesteak.
Well done.
She even got the
Well
vocal
done.
fry in there.
A slightly confused.
Right.
Kardashian,
Vocal
yeah,
fry is very
Little
yeah.
Kardashian,
Yeah.
Yep, there was a little Kardashian in there. How
Oh
about-
yeah. Oh, that's all our references, isn't it? Really. We
Yeah.
don't get a lot of-
Sadly.
Sadly.
How about you, Joel? What else are you doing today?
We might go to the Rocky Steps.
Yeah.
And to the penitentiary.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna have a good time,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Antiseptic.
Yeah.
By the way, Eastern State Penitentiary, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That is
That's what
very
we're thinking.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it was roundly condemned by Charles Dickens. So when for driving prisoners stone cold mad.
That's exactly what it did.
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys are in town for the next few days, and
yeah.
how quickly will the videos you make end up being put up? Or do you need to spend time editing, or are you going to put them up as you go along?
So the first Philly videos will probably be out this week.
Okay.
Maybe next week. So yeah, if anyone's just wanted to jump on our channel and have a little watch of us,
Yeah.
You guys
then
are
you can.
so much fun, and I encourage people who haven't checked you guys out to check it out. It's very likable, and it's a great distraction and diversion, and it's
Yeah.
Thank
wonderful.
you.
And so I was telling these guys off air that we're supposed to get a bunch of snow on Friday into Saturday, and they really should. If you have the right gear, try and go sledding down the Art Museum steps. It is a real thing that really happens
Yeah.
when it snows out.
It's
We'll
worth,
definitely give that a
it's
go.
worth getting the gear for, isn't it?
All the gear, no
They'll
idea.
set you up.
Yeah.
And give out your social media and YouTube channel and all that stuff.
Yeah, sure. We are at Joel and Leah, JoelAndLia, on everything.
Okay.
So you can find us that way.
Perfect.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you guys for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to
That was
see
fun.
you,
Thank
and
you so
hopefully,
much.
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be over there again.
Yeah,
sometime.
see you in London,
Definitely.
guys.
Come on,
And,
man.
Absolutely.
visit you
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Excellent. All right, Joel and Leah, let's hear it for them, guys. With that, we are going to take a break. We will come back in just a moment, so make sure that you hang close, my friend. the band Coheed and Cambria will be at the Leah Core Center on July 27th. Tickets are going to go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at CoheedandCambria.com. They are promoting their highly anticipated new record, which is Vaxis to a Window of the Waking Mind, and spiraling somewhere in the United States as we speak on a bus, headed out on tour. He is joining us live. Please welcome the singer of the band, the man behind the music, Mr. Claudio Sanchez. This morning. Claudio, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, man. Listen, I'm going to be straight up with you from the very get-go because we're excited about having this interview, and I just have the smallest amount of knowledge of Coheed and Cambria. I've been aware of you guys for a long time. I only know a few songs, and I was like, man, do I kind of, BS this guy and just pretend like I know all of his music and do the interview that way? But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? You've got such diehard fans. The fans know about your music. They're going to go to your show. But how about the people that might not be that familiar with? And let's bring some new people on board this. And so I want to be one of those people. And the reason I know I'm going to be one of those people is I had this same type of sensation of just checking out and diving into your catalog in the last couple of days that I had when I first, somebody turned me on to Rush. Okay, so I'm a prog guy, and Rush is my band. And when somebody played 2112 for me the first time, that was my first dive into conceptual music. And I was like Pinto in Animal House when he finds out that there's an atom on your fingernail could be a tiny little universe. I was just like, I can't handle this. I was blown away. So I'm really open to diving deep into the world of Coheed and Cambria because it's a very dense universe. There's a lot of material there. And I bet you love hearing about people coming on board and really experiencing the music,
Yeah, well, that's actually a big conversation we had when making Vaxis 2 with our A&R Johnny Minardi. Is just like, Coheed and Cambria has been a band now like 20 years. And it's like, well, what does that look like to somebody coming on board? And it's not that different from, say, like somebody getting introduced to maybe the Star Wars universe and then realizing there's this whole mythology, this whole catalog of records behind them that's vast, and so yeah, I mean it's definitely a conversation that I love sort of having, is like, this is way more than just music. It's a culture, and all because I started it as a kid because I was shy. I just had a hard time singing about myself, and I was afraid to let people know about me. So I created a concept to hide behind.
And for those who don't know, Claudio, is that the band's work, now listen, there are concept albums. There's The Wall, and there's 2112, and there's Dark Side of the Moon, and these albums that have this entire, project that's just filled with this story, and it's amazing. But the band's entire work, from what I understand, is all a conceptual piece. Is that a correct assumption or a correct characterization?
Yeah. Yep, with the exception of one record, which was called The Color Before the Sun, but everything else is part of a mythology I constructed, a science fiction epic called The Amory Wars, where Coheed and Cambria... Yeah, where Coheed and Cambria are essentially, in the first 5 stories, act as kind of the Adam and Eves. They sort of set the whole mythology off. And then everything else is really about their sons coming into manhood, like an adolescent growing into a man and understanding like his place within this universe that he essentially has control over. And then after that, we kind of fall into this new story arc that we're working on called Vaxis. And that, when I look at the Vaxis story arc and I think about myself in there, whereas like those original Coheed records, I see myself as the adolescent and I'm growing up. Whereas in the Vaxis story arc, I see myself as the father, and that's really kind of the trajectory there. Those are the themes there, is how a father deals with, a man kind of coming into his own as a dad, basically.
I love this notion. I would have been, and I am now going to, because I just as Preston said, we're both fans of this kind of approach to music. few and far between these days. And it used to be the norm. And you would just get there and you would immerse and you would look at album art and you would be, what's the message? And you talk about album art. You've got the comic series. I mean, you've got all of this stuff that's dovetailing. Preston, at 16 or 17, if you found this band, you'd be outside the tour bus.
Oh, yeah.
Bugging the crowd. I mean, because honestly, I heard so many people that I respected and respect, Claudio, the band's name would always come up. And I'm like, well, I love this stuff. And so circuitously, I would experience and go, yeah, that's good. Not understanding, I mean, what is a very rare situation where it's not just simply a thematic concept album, it's a concept band. That is awesome. That's a mind blower. Did you start to fall into it just through the growth of the band, or was that the modus operandi from day one?
So when I started writing material, I think I was about, I was a teenager. Right. And I became the singer of this band. And when I was writing the material for it, before it was Coheed and Cambria, I started to realize I just had a hard time. I had a hard time singing songs about myself, putting my heart on my sleeve. But though they were, so I just didn't want anybody to go, oh, I know that person now because of the music, So I started to construct this concept. So I took a trip to Paris, France in 1998. And there's when I started to construct the ideas of Coheed and Cambria, the characters, some of the first songs on the first record. Just because I hadn't been anywhere. I'm a New York kid. The furthest I had been was New Jersey. And now I'm in Paris, and it was so wonderful. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just really adopt this as a songwriter. I mean, of course, I'm a teenager. I'm not thinking that strategically, but that's just what I thought. I was like, you know what? I'm shy. Let's just put this out there with a curtain, and that's what I did. And then, when the band got signed in 2001 to Equal Vision, an indie up in New York, they didn't like the name of the band we had at the time. And so Coheed and Cambria happened to be this project I was working on the side, and the band really liked it. And so with that, we adopted the name, and I took the concept with me, and it's just kind of been I guess from day one when the signing, I guess you could say it's always been the thing.
That's great.
All right, so you had mentioned entering this universe for the first time, and you had sort of drawn the parallel between your music and, let's say, the Star Wars universe. So for us, the Star Wars universe started with Episode 4. So if we were talking to somebody who had never seen a movie before, we might start with Episode 4, and other people might say, no, you got to start with Episode 1, and then other people might say, no, you need to start with Rogue One or whatever. So what I want to ask you, 20 years later, and I've done this with other bands where I discovered a band, 4 records in. I'm like, okay, well, where do I start? Do I start with the newest stuff or do I go back to the beginning? So for you, for anybody who just heard Shoulders for the first time, and that is their introduction to the band, do you recommend starting there, or do you recommend going back to 2002 to the Second Stage Turbine Blade?
I think it's totally subjective. I mean, this answer changes all the time. It all depends on timing, right? Like if we were to finish, say, the Vaxxis story, which is 3 more records, my answer to this question would be different. I would say, I'm really proud of Vaxxis 2. I think Vaxxis 2 really kind of stands off on its own. I also really love the idea of coming into something late and then discovering the fact that there's all this other stuff to consume. But if I had to say, Second Stage Turbine Blade is basically the second part of the Amory Wars. That is the second part in this huge mythology that's probably going to ultimately be 12 parts. But that's the second part. The origin story of those characters is in a record called Year of the Black Rainbow. So technically that's the first. Here's the thing. So sorry, here's where my crazy gets into play.
All right, it's all good.
Every record has a numeric value. So Year of the Black Rainbow, year being singular, Second Stage Turbine Blade, second being 2, In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3 is the third part, Good Apollo 4.
Oh my.
So every record has its numeric value within the story. The Vaxxis story arc, however, that's sort of more cryptic. The V for Vaxxis stands for the Roman numeral 5, and the axis in which all of the Amory Wars is now going to revolve. So it's a little heady.
No. This is absolutely, and I love it because I'm looking at a color code that explains a song can be exclusive, like Red, for example. A song can sometimes be exclusively from the point view of a character in the real. I mean, there's a breakdown of tone of who is speaking based on a color code. Your fan base is obviously very much into the minutia. We are as well for so many things that are pop culture, and obviously you're a science fiction fan. So what has rocked your? I got to assume you're a Dune fan, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I love all versions of Dune. I love the Frank Herbert book. I actually liked the David Lynch movie. I mean, when I saw that, I was a child.
So did Steve and I.
Yeah,
I had no.
We're fans as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I really love the new one. So yes, I'm definitely a fan of Dune. Definitely a fan of Star Wars. I also really like I liked Krull. Are you guys familiar?
Krull, of course, Krull.
Yeah.
It's cheesy goodness.
Oh my God!
That sort of star, that weapon,
star that he would throw.
was awesome. Yeah.
The glaive.
The glaive.
Yeah,
Dude, I wanted one of those so bad. Yeah, I totally. Yeah.
I was like, right, but like so that was like the thing, right? So when I was a kid, like you'd sit watching HBO in hopes that Star Wars would come on, and HBO would give you give you Krull, they give you Ice Pirates. Do you guys remember Ice Pirates?
with Robert Urich. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Like so, those are like sort of the those are like the science fiction movies that I got kind of brought up on. Comic books, obviously. Anything sort of pop culture, like Saturday morning cartoons, He-Man, G.I. Joe. I'm just like I thought Tron. I think the era that I grew up in. I mean, I'm pre-adolescence. I'm in the '80s, so it's very character driven. People are trying to sell toys essentially, and like so characters are very defined. Even in like the most cheesy way, when you think of like G.I. Joe, you got Shipwreck, who's like the sailor, or so like. I think I was kind of lucky in that respect because I don't know that all that stuff really influenced me.
Oh, we talk
like
about
hard.
this. Yeah, we talk about this, especially from that period. We were just talking about the movie Alien Nation. Do you remember that with the?
Yep, absolutely.
Right. All of those were where they were very high concept, very easily consumable science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because that gives us a fixed point at what was your impetus for this, and it all makes sense. But that's very cool. So besides the comic book and the music, since everything obviously has a very theatrical aspect to it, would you take a foray into films? Is this something that has actually happened and we're unaware of, that you've announced any plans for films? Because I think your vision would be perfect for this.
We've attempted it, but on a very grassroots, sort of small level, not in a very serious way. Like, no one's really come to approach us, essentially. Okay. Like, at one point, Mark Wahlberg tried to get involved, his company Leverage, but it wasn't really, I think it was, like, the wrong time. Because now, I got to tell you, like, I get asked this question way more than I've ever. And I think it has a lot to do with maybe the Vaxxas story arc, because a lot of the accompanying art, the story, is very photographic. It's very photorealistic, and it's easier to see, I think, than it ever has been.
Right.
So I get asked it a lot. So I have a feeling it might happen. Nothing right now, but it just feels like the wave is pushing in that direction.
All right. So Claudio, to that end, in 1998, when you're writing in Paris, essentially you're creating this story arc, but the constant from 1998 until right now is the music, right? The music sort of is at the base of a lot of this stuff and a lot of what your career has become. However, in 2022, you're sitting on a tour bus and you're Zooming with us, and we're in completely different states. So obviously, and in many ways, the technology over that amount of time has changed vastly, which allows you to tell the story in many different ways. Which part of the technology advancements that we've had over the last 2 decades is most appealing for Coheed and Cambria? Which part of it is just kind of...
WMMR.
All right, thanks, Kath. Our next guest we love having on, been talking to for ages. He's a Collegeville guy.
He sure is.
From the area and is setting up some new roots in this area, from what I understand, which is pretty cool. But he's going to be playing a show Saturday at the TLA. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe DeRosa is back.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I'm so glad you met we brought it up to here, the level. It was like,
well, he's clearly moving. We see boxes behind you, Joe. Are you tapped out?
I'm keeping this place in New York that I have, but yeah, I bought a place in an undisclosed location in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So, I thought it was time to try to buy a piece of property and not buy one in a city where it was $1,100 a month for the privilege of owning with the HOA fee.
I love that. I love because to me that's always criminal what they get. I mean, there was made the news. There was something that literally had no bathroom, and it was something like $2,000 a month. Just ridiculous.
Let me ask,
crazy.
what does an HOA get you in an apartment in New York City? What are you even paying for?
The smell of urine, roaches.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. All I know is that my friend is in real estate, and he was the first person I talked to when I started the process. And he's in New York real estate, and he told me a story of. They went to the tenants in his building and said, "We need to do renovations on the building. The renovations are going to cost $3 million. Your HOA is going to go from $900 a month to $3,000."
Oh, that's just absurd. And they wonder why people are fleeing.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It's really crazy. I love the city, but it's a tough city to operate in. So I was actually going to get a place in Philly proper. But I felt like that was a little bit of a lateral jump. So I went into a little more of a rural area.
Well, we know where we know where that is. That's a cool area. We're not going to reveal if you don't want to reveal where that is, but you can rent kayaks there. I do know that.
That's cool.
Yes,
That's
you can rent
pretty
kayak.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a big kayak guy.
It's one of the things I plan on starting that I'll never do.
Yeah.
Kayaking. Look at that. There's kayaks. Oh, look, there's a bike thing. I'll do that. I'll never do any of it.
No, but it makes total sense. And listen, you'll become a kayak guy. You'll have the opportunity to do that now. I mean, in the city, there's not a lot of kayak opportunity.
No, there's not a lot of kayak. It was either move to the country, not country, but move to a kayak area, and that's the activity. Or move to Philly, and the activity is darting through Kensington.
All right. Was that the edict to the real estate friend? Just one word, kayak. That's all I want.
I said one word, Kensington Avenue. Can you get me near it?
All the charm of. But no, I think it's a good thing for you because honestly, you're doing a ton of podcasts and you can do that from anywhere. I mean, seriously, let's talk about that. Obviously, you have strong ties here. It's a hop, skip, and a proverbial jump back up to the city. You're a sandwich shop, still doing well.
Yeah. We're still here in the city, and
New York City.
The podcasts are going strong. One of my podcasts I can do. It's called "We'll See You in Hell." I can do that one over Zoom. Taste Bud's the one I do with Sal from Jokers. That one we have to do in person. But even still, it's not that hard to drive up to the city. And that's why I'm keeping this place for now, so I can kind of straddle the fence. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a different world, man. It's funny. This Austin boom is happening now with Rogan and and all the comics that moved down there and the comedy mothership that he opened and everything. And everybody is moving to Austin. I remember, I'm not kidding, about 7 years ago, I would talk to my agents at the time about moving to Austin. They would make fun of me. They were like, they're like, oh yeah. And my agent at the time would send me real estate listings from Lubbock, Texas and be like, hey, I saw something you might like. You should maybe check this out. And it was like, what are you, crazy? You can't go down there. And it's like the internet has changed everything so much in the last 5 years. Like, it doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't. I mean, the demands are, as you said, there's a couple things that maybe geographically you're going to have to travel a bit for, but you can do all of what you do. And I was looking at a list of your podcast, Joe. You're basically, the podcasts are basically in segments, our show. Because you do a food thing, kind of like the connoisseur segment. You're all about science fiction and fantasy. I'll See You in Hell, or We'll See You in Hell, and horror, stuff like that. All of your interests, video gaming and all that stuff, that's our realm. So
I have a traffic podcast.
A traffic podcast, apps contest. No, but I mean, it's your lifestyle is sort of, I think, and obviously comedically the demands. I think this is a good move for you. I think this is going to give you a little bit of a Zen existence that you're not getting in the city.
Well, I live alone, and New York living alone after a while gets a little dangerous mentally.
A little Travis Bickle-y?
Yeah. My friend said to me today one time, he goes, I just had one of those disturbing viewings of Taxi Driver where the whole time I was going, exactly.
Exactly.
It gets to you after a while, and you start to, everybody's screaming all the time, and there's horns and there's sirens. And, when you're married, or at least if you have roommates, you can come back to the apartment after the crazy experience out in the streets of New York and go, Jesus, the city is ridiculous, and then there's another person to talk to you about it. And
right.
You can kind of balance each other out. I come home and there's nobody here. And then I start screaming at my computer, and my iPhone doesn't work properly, and the TV, and then it starts to become nothing in this city works properly at all. And then I'm screaming at the ceiling at God, why do you do this to me? It becomes a real sick.
That is depressing. Yeah.
Can I ask about your sandwich shop? Is it on 16th Street?
No, it's on Rivington Street, 174 Rivington.
Okay,
Street,
I want to look
on the
this
Lower
up.
East Side.
All right, so it's called Joey Rose's, right?
Joey Rose's, yeah. It's we call it a social club, but it's a bar and then sandwich shop. And,
when you say social club, what does that mean?
Well, we wanted to make it, when we decided we were going to have liquor in addition to the sandwiches, we thought, the idea, we obviously weren't going to have like a foo-foo kind of joint. And we thought that the coolest thing we could do or best thing we could do would be to throw back to the old school vibes of the social clubs in New York City on the Lower East Side. So we started, trying to model it after like where they hang out in a Bronx Tale.
Like the fun ones that John Gotti ran. The fun ones where you have to go outside and talk so the FBI can't hear you.
Right. I wanted there to be some fear in everybody.
Right.
Because they ate the same.
I love that. I love the Bronx Tale concept.
Bronx Tale, and other cities too, like Thief with James Caan, in Thief, he owns Green Mill,
right,
which is a real bar.
Yeah.
But, spots like that where we were like, it's a place where it feels like a home away from home, like the place you always stop as you're on your way home to get your beer or whatever it is after work. And it's just, so we thought social club was a better descriptor of it than like dive bar. So that's kind of what it is. I love. Go ahead.
Have people respond? Because I love that concept. Have people responded well to that social club element?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like the first few weeks we were open and people from the neighborhood started coming in. The coolest compliments we were getting. There were a couple old men that came in, like guys, like no joke, like in there, like we had one guy who was in like his early 80s, and he was like, don't tell my wife I'm in here. He's going to yell at me. And I was like, okay. And they said to us, they were like, these different guys independently of one another, and an older woman too, they all said like, we haven't seen a place like this in the neighborhood in a long time.
Wow.
And it was really touching to make something that we thought was really grassroots and really affordable and really for the regular person, and put it in New York, and then have New York at every turn show us that they don't want you here. That you better start selling craft cocktails.
Start selling craft cocktails. Any plans to do something similar in your new digs or near your new digs?
At the moment, no. We are talking about potentially expanding. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I have the ability to do it between stand-up and this place and podcasting and writing, and it's a lot after a while. And every one of those jobs, you're the kind of the head of the snake.
Yeah.
There is no there's no like board of people above you to defer the issues to, and that starts to get stressful after a while, you know. And then I decided to buy a house amidst all of it. So the anxiety right now is like it's manageable, but it's enough. I think if I started a place down in Philly or something, it would be too time consuming. But who knows? I don't know. It's all based on the Philly thing. Like there was no. It all started with me saying to my partner, Paul Italia, like, look, man, you can't get those Philly style sandwiches in New York. Like, I don't know why. You just can't. Like, but we should have a place that has like hoagies, for lack of a better way of putting it. And, that brings that Philly flavor.
And hoagies that has American cheese that's not yellow.
It's crazy, dude. People have argued with me about that. People have said, like, why isn't your American cheese yellow? That's the good kind. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Get out of here.
Right.
Philistine.
Agreed.
Philistine.
Joe, I wanted to ask you, your show is Saturday at the TLA. I can't remember the last time that we've promoted a comedy show at the TLA. It's one of my favorite venues. I haven't been there in a little while, but I've seen so many great shows there. Why'd you choose that venue? Why are you headed there?
I'm not being schmaltzy or maudlin or anything. I really mean this. This show is so important to me. This is a dream come true. This is what I dreamed of the whole time I've been doing this. And I'm about to enter year 24. But when I started in comedy, I always said, man, all I want to do is get to that point where I can play the venues I saw my favorite bands at. Play those venues. And those venues were not big stadiums or even large theaters. They were these music venues, obviously, like the TLA. I saw many a band that I love very much at the TLA, from Faith No More, Shudder to Think. So this was a huge thing. Like it finally, we got to the point where we could do it.
It's cool. We had a chance. There's a really cool thing that happened there one time, Joe. It was back when the Red Hot Chili Peppers had Californication come out, and we had the opportunity. They wanted to do a warm-up gig before the tour, and we were at Y100 at the time, and we had a contest for all high school students to go to a show, and we got to see them in that room, and they were gigantic at the time. They were just huge. They were playing, huge venues.
Yeah.
And to see them in that room was just, that was something else, man. I love that place.
It's an amazing place. Yeah, my coolest memory there was I saw Faith No More there when they toured with their King for a Day album. And we were in the seated part of the venue, and we were upset that we weren't in the GA part. And after the show ended, the lights came up and people were filing out, and there was like 40 or 50 people left in the venue, and Faith No More ran out on stage and plugged into just the amps. They were out of the PA and everything, just the regular amps. And then they played a song for the 50 people that were left.
Wow, that's cool.
Insane.
Wow.
It was insane. Yeah. It was so cool. It was so cool. I just got chills talking about it.
And that was probably back in the day where you would pour out of that place and South Street was just packed, just mobbed with people.
Yeah, that was, and then, here's the other really special part of this show on Saturday is I started on South Street. I mean, I started technically in Collegeville at the New Road Brewery, but when I really stepped into a club for the first time about a month into comedy, I started on South Street at the Laugh House down between 3rd and 2nd.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to be doing the biggest show I've ever done in Philly on the same street, a few blocks up from where it started. This venue where I saw all these bands that I loved, on this legendary street that we used to hang out on. I'm really, honestly, I'm heartbroken that John's Bar is closed. I would have had a big after party at John's Bar, because that was the bar we all hung out at after the open mic every Wednesday. We'd go to John's.
It was such a cool vibe. I mean, we used to do on Fat Tuesday, from Fat Tuesday, we would do a live morning broadcast. I mean, it would be, Joe, that by like, 5 o'clock in the morning, there'd be a massive line of people who had been partying the whole friggin' night. And it was just unbelievable. Well, let me ask you. So you love of music, and you talk about glowingly about the Faith No More show. You had a reunion of a band that you were a part of, right? Just recently, fairly recently?
Yeah. Well, my band, I had a band called Salsa Windfall when I was in college. And it was me and my buddy Paul Chell. And we never lost touch, and we never kind of stopped thinking about one day maybe we could do this again. But we stopped kind of taking it seriously because we had separate careers that we were both pursuing, and we were living in different cities. And then one day, Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers was filling in for me on Taste Buds because I couldn't be there. And he brought up, hey, did you know Joe has this band on the show? And then the fans started digging up stuff online about us. And then the next thing you know, they're like, hey, what's up with your band? And then we were like, well, we have this record. Do you want us to put it out? They said, yeah, we did. And then cut to last 2 weeks ago, October 28th, we did our first show in 22 years at Arlene's Grocery in New York.
That's wild.
Wild.
That's got to be wild, yeah.
It was crazy. This year is a real eventful year of things that I always wanted to do finally happening. Like, honestly, this TLA show, the Salsa Windfall getting back together, buying a house, which I never thought I'd be.
Yeah, man. If you manage to navigate it properly and don't end up with a mohawk, you'll be good. So if you don't follow the full Travis Bickle thing, you'll be fine.
My favorite thing from today was when I described what New York is like, and you just went, "That's depressing."
There's no way to sugarcoat it.
The show is Saturday at 7:30 at TLA. Joe, I got, and I'll leave it up to you. I got somebody on the phone lines on hold. It says his name is Mike, and it says, started with Joe 25 years ago at the Spaghetti Warehouse.
Is this Mike Rainey?
Oh, wow.
Is
it Mike Clements?
It just says Mike.
Shall we take it?
Yeah.
All right. All right, hang on a second. Hey, Mike, you there?
Yes, I am. Hey, guys.
Can you hear him, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that
all right.
Clements?
Yes. Yes, it is, Joe.
Who's Mike? Mike, who are you to Joe?
I started comedy late in life at like age 45. I was running the Spaghetti Warehouse for a nice Jewish couple. And I was a horrible MC, and I would put the show together and whatever, and Joe came down, killed. I'm in the back of the room crying, laughing, but the audience was older, like much older. And Joe gets done, he goes, what are you going to tell these people? Because I had to keep like a journal of he did okay, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm going to tell them to have you back. You're hilarious. I said, look at all the hair was blue in the audience. And people are looking, and I'm in the back of the room, and they're turning around looking at me going, who's this idiot laughing?
Joe,
this guy's a monster.
Joe, you remember this gig?
Yes, I do. I do. Mike and I palled around for a few years. Back in Philly. I loved Mike. And Mike was, this is the truth, Mike was the first, Mike's hilarious, by the way. And he was the first comic I met. You know, it's very formidable those years, and you take things from people and you learn things. And Mike was honestly the first comic I met that had a true contempt for the audience. Was not afraid to show them that he thought that they were idiots. And he wasn't disrespectful, but he just had an attitude and an energy where, if George Carlin used to say, if it works on Friday and it works on Sunday and it doesn't work on Saturday, that's the audience's fault. Like, Mike really epitomized that because he was so funny and he'd kill. But if it wasn't working as well as it should have, it didn't shake him at all. And he would just have this 1,000-yard stare in his eyes like, you morons, you don't deserve this right now. Like the yellow American cheek thing.
Mike, is that a fair assessment?
Oh, are you kidding? Yellow American?
When's the last time
Mike,
you guys...
It's wild. Mike, it's wild to hear from you. Are you still kicking around?
I'm still breathing, yeah. I've been retired from SEPTA for like 11 years now.
Okay.
Still do shows once in a while, but not that often. because of my contempt for the audience.
Let me ask you, Mike. Would you have any opposition to doing some groundskeeping on a 200-acre estate
near kayak
recently
country?
purchased by?
Listen, I was almost Joe. I'm so happy for you. You got the deli. I hope the sandwiches are good. I'll come up and check them out. You're doing so well. I'm so happy for you. And plus your time on Better Call Saul. Awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike. I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad to hear from you. You should come hang out on Saturday, man. If you're around, I'd love to see you.
You know what? I came down to the Punchline to see it. I'm going to say 5-6 years ago. You remember that?
Yes.
With a
Yeah.
hot-looking
It was
blonde woman.
Yes.
Joe, you were saying before the interview you needed an opener this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Somebody really piss off the audience.
Yeah.
I have a very, very special guest with me on Saturday, and I don't know if I can announce him or not.
Okay.
But I'm only because I don't know if he's got other things in the area that where he can't be announced.
Okay.
There's all this conflict,
so
but
you
anyway, I have somebody really special with me on Saturday. But Mike, can you come down?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Please.
Yeah,
we'll
and-
figure it out off air.
Yeah, come and meet up with him. You guys need to reconnect.
Bring
Mike,
some spaghetti.
yeah, thanks for the call, man.
There you go. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Talk to you later. See you.
Thanks, Mike.
How cool is that, man?
Does somebody have his number where I can call him later?
Oh no, we don't keep that
All
kind
right,
of stuff.
Mike, hold on. Mike's listening. Call back. Marissa will get his information. We'll pass it along to you, Joe. So call the request line back, Mike.
No, that was just for the show.
Spaghetti Warehouse.
That wasn't even Mike. That was
wasn't
Casey.
even Mike.
Casey's in the other room the whole time.
I remember going to Spaghetti Warehouse a few times. If I was going to a show at the Electric Factory, going and grab a bite to eat there real quick. I didn't know they did comedy shows there.
Oh, could you imagine you're going to a show at the Electric Factory, and then you go to Spaghetti Warehouse, and you get bombarded with another show?
It's like
they did shows, and they did them in the back room, as you can imagine, like the dirty secret it was. And no, they did. There was a back room. I guess it was like a private dining room or something, like if you wanted to like rent the place out for a party or something like that. But they did shows back there, and the ticket always consisted of, I think you got a meal with the show. It was basically dinner theater, except it was stand-up. And I met Mike there. I met Joey, Philly guy. Geez, Joey, Irish guy. I'm blanking on his name. Callahan. There, I think I met Chip Chantry there.
Chip Chantry.
It was like, yeah. I kind of met all the not all, but a lot of the Philly regular dudes back then, and it was wild. But that was all the only types of shows I used to do, like because it was everything was like there was food involved somehow.
Yeah. Right. Well,
it was a.
In the beginning stage, like the classic story, there's that Chinese restaurant that was in Boston that they played in a back room in this Chinese restaurant. It became famous and loved and hated at the same time. And Lenny Clark and all those guys, that's where they kind of started, So it'd be one of those places would be the only places that were around to play.
Yeah, it was. The clubs were few and far between, and they were. It was sacred ground at the club, man. Like you had to get, I started playing the Laugh House because Ray Gordon, who I always say is my mentor in all of this.
Yep.
Two pulled me aside and goes, "Why are you not working here?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like they didn't.
I was born to
He
kayak.
said it like they. Yeah, he said it like they had sent me a package of some kind that I was declining. I was like, I would like to work there. And he brought me into the office to Mona, rest in peace, the owner, and he said, "You need to work this man."
Wow.
And she said, "Okay." And then that was literally the whole conversation. That was it. She went, "Okay."
Wow.
And we walked out. And I went home and I was like, they're not going to work me based on that. Like, and I swear to God, she called me the next day and she said, "What are you doing this weekend? Can you host at the club?" And it was, excuse me, It was insane. It was insane. But because it was so hard to come by that time and that stage time. And you back then you had to, I did it in Philly and I did it again in New York. You had to just hang out at the club for months. Months.
Just had to be known to the staff.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's still like that at like the clubs that exist now.
It's better now because you have a lot more higher quality comedy clubs and a lot of venues that really facilitate it. So, but you still have to do the legwork and put the time in. But it's a better environment for comedy now, and there are a ton of very funny people coming out of Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Philly's having a great boom, and this is part of what attracted me to putting down some stake or roots, whatever you want to call it, in the area. Philly's having a great artistic boom right now. I'm a big hip hop guy, and the rappers coming out of Philly right now, these guys Coast Contra. I don't know if they're all from Philly, but some of them are. They're like they're wildly internet like viral sensation. Yeah. They're amazing, but I keep hearing guys that are coming out of Philly, and it's the music and the comedy. I'm seeing stand-up that's coming out of Philly that's just great. Look at Shane Gillis. I mean,
oh my God,
wild.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's cool,
wild,
man. We're stoked you're moving back into the area. I'm really excited that this TLA gig is one that you've been wanting this, and you've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. So I'm glad it's finally coming for you. So Joe DeRosa playing the TLA Saturday night. It's a 7:30 show. Tickets available at TLAphilly.com, and I'm sure we will see you in the flesh sometime soon, sir. But it's great to catch up with you, all right?
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for having me on.
You got
it's
it.
Great to see you.
Have a great one, man. Joe DeRosa, guys. Get your tickets. Go see him on Saturday. We have to take a break, which we are going to do right now. Some B-File stories are on the way, so stay put. We'll be back in a moment.
What if you guys really embrace and you're like, oh my God, this is a really great way for us to tell the story in a way that we really want to?
I always want to see it kind of get played out in a live action, just in the simplest form, whether it be television or movie. But there's so many other things now. We have VR, we have metaverses, we have all sorts of stuff. And I think there's a lot of source material for us to draw from, and again, like, that was never really my approach. It was really just to make, comic books, essentially, just to tell these stories in a different way, watch them get up off the record and come to life. And now it's like, yeah, sure, movies and television, but there's so many other places to stretch.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to wrap my head around all of them. But, at this stage, I mean, I'd like to do everything. I mean, I think these characters are, I think the characters are really, when I see our fans and I see them resonate with certain characters, that's so insane to me, because I never anticipated that. I never anticipated anybody to see themselves connect with a character. That was just not on the top of my head. And like, when you see that fans have like a favorite, like you have Ambelina on their arm, or Willem Ryan, and it's just like, wow, that's like me resonating with like Freddy Krueger or Darth Vader. It's so cool.
No,
so cool.
absolutely. I want to talk about the fandom for a second here, and I'm going to lead this part by saying that we got a tweet from a fellow musician, Claudio. It is a Peanut from 311, and he's listening right now. So he tweeted at us. So I wanted to give a shout out to Peanut, who's listening this morning. But you mentioned the fandom, and I'm going to give you an example. And this is a killing two birds with one stone, because I want to thank this listener. This morning I came in and there was a box sitting over here in the studio, and I'm like, well, what the hell's that? And I open it up, and first of all, it is a 4-pack of the Rush beer. All right, that was sent to me. All right, and it came with a letter. It says, Preston, a beer to share with a fellow Rush fan. These are not for export in the USA, so I coordinated a delivery from Henderson Brewing Company in Toronto to an associate's friend in Ontario. It was then driven from Ontario to Michigan to his mother's house.
Oh, my God.
A work associate drove from Michigan to Ohio. From Ohio, it was driven to Harrisburg, where I picked it up, and I drove it home to Langhorne, PA, and I now share a few with you. That is from Dean Gutierrez, an MMR listener. And so the reason I bring this up, A, I wanted to thank Dean, and second of all, in the world of progressive rock, there is a connection with the fans that I think is unique to itself. And because of conceptual works like you guys do, Claudio, there's further discussion about the music other than, I really like that song. Man, that rhythm's great. Or this guitar part's really awesome. You start talking about the subtext of the characters and the stories and all that stuff, and it just makes for a really special fan base. And I wanted to get, your impressions on that.
Yes, we are so fortunate. I mean, our fan base is just amazing that they get into all of those sorts of things. Like last fall, we did a cruise that sold out, and everyone was super respectful. It was just, it's more of a family. We see the same faces a lot of the time. We've created relationships with our fans. It's something that, again, like I just never thought I could only have dreamed of.
Right.
And it's like, it's like happening.
I wonder,
we're lucky in it.
I wonder, Claudia, how much of that connects to, and you come from a point of being shy. And and I did stand-up comedy. I'm doing this now, but initially I was kind of shy. And I think there's something, I think, that draws a certain. You don't want to make blanket statements. It's for everybody, obviously, if you enjoy. But I think you're probably connecting in a way, because that's well known about you and your impetus for starting all this. That the people who don't feel that there's something quite for them, you're providing that. I mean, on a basic level, we can sense your joy over being able to do that. Would that be your greatest accomplishment, you believe, touching people who maybe up to now haven't found that thing that resonates for them?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, it's also like, it also provides something for me. Like, again, going and being shy, it's like, it's hard for me to walk into a room of people I don't know and be a personality. I tend to kind of cower off, and that's the whole idea of being, the Coheed line of one among the fence. I'm the one, at the dance, like, I'm the wallflower. It's just not for me to be a loud personality, and being on stage allows me to do that, and it allows me to be around people with like-minded thing. And sure, maybe it's something that I created that everyone's into, but it allows me to kind of be open. It's a starting place for a conversation and friendship. Maybe that is, I created friends.
You did. You clearly did.
If you're just tuning in, it's Claudio Sanchez, who's with Coheed and Cambria, and they're going to be in town in July. Tickets go on sale with the show at the Leah Corus Center tomorrow at 10 a.m. We played the song Shoulders as we were leading into the interview. You guys have a new song called The Liars Club. I saw the video, really cool animation. And like I said at the top, Claudio, not being aware of the full body of work of Coheed and Cambria, Liars Club seems like it has a different tone to it from the other songs that I've kind of skimmed through in your catalog. Dare I say, a little poppier? I mean, I'm trying to think of a better term, but what's the story behind the song and the sound of it all?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of this material was written pre-pandemic, through the pandemic, and I was just kind of open to all ideas. I figured, here's an opportunity for me to flex. Even Shoulders feels like a very new version. I mean, when that song was written, it was, primarily because, our A&R had threw this idea at me. I was up for the challenge. I created it. I put it aside. It wasn't going to happen, and then I brought it to my co-producer, Zach Cervini, and he was like, wow, this is a vibe that's not on the record. We should work with this. And that became a song. And kind of the same thing for Liars Club, although Liars Club, I think, was a little more immediate because I knew that was, I thought that was a theme that I really wanted to express on the record. Like, who doesn't want to, embrace the lie sometimes, when reality just isn't, the way you see it. Oh, yeah.
No, I was just wondering as you were talking and talking about that in Preston's question, and you mentioned Star Wars earlier. We have obviously we know you're a fan. I think of George Lucas, who had the original vision, and perhaps tries to go in different ways. And he got eaten alive by his own fan base. Do you feel you get the latitude from your fan base to go out on these sort of creative ventures that might depart slightly from your sound?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because it's not something that's foreign from what we've done. I mean, it's definitely we're definitely stretching with this new record more so than we have in the past. But we've also laid the groundwork in past records to do things like this. Okay. Like if you guys fall into the discography at all, you find songs like Evagria or Number City. These are all songs that really kind of stretch outside of like what the comfort nucleus of what Coheed and Cambria does. So we're always kind of breaking out of that a bit. But we do it more so with this record. And I think it's really more appropriate because of the theme of the album, because the mind is opening up for this one character, and we're starting to realize that it experiences infinite. Like all infinite outcomes, this one character of Vaxis is like, consumed with, like, instead of seeing the world as we see it, he sees it as maybe the static of a television, because he can see every outcome at one moment.
Sounds like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Right. But almost so much more that he physically can't interact with any of them, if that makes any sense, into like a catatonic state, because it's so consuming, so overwhelming. And that's why I think, it made sense conceptually to really kind of step outside of like I said, the nucleus of what we do and kind of stretch. Like you'll hear songs like Disappearing Act, which really kind of stretches the Window of the Waking Mind. There's all sorts of stuff on this record. I'm really, really proud of it. And Liars Club, I thought, was a really cool, like, statement to put out there, just to kind of get everyone's feet wet,
I love these concepts. It's really deep and heady stuff, but let's go back just a little bit. Did your old band break up because of an argument over gas money? Is that correct?
No, I don't know what. No, but where's that from? That's like a Quidditch question.
Wikipedia. It was on Wikipedia. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute.
We're like, what? So we definitely almost broke up because of there were several moments, but like, to be completely honest, like when Coheed first started back in 2002, like the attention to the band was so intense. Like we would play shows and opening for bands, and we would play, and once we were done, like the place would empty.
Oh.
It was like severe. Like we had no idea that we had that impact at that time. And so it really got to me as like the guy with the hair, the focus point. It like, I didn't realize like how much of a magnet I would become. And it kind of scared me. Like so much so that, I broke down, and Gas Money wasn't never, that might have been like, who the hell knows? I have no idea. But for real, like, my mentality was like disintegrating. Like,
wow.
Coming from like a person that, again, like I am very much an introvert. It was really hard to be like, to have that so much attention when I grew up in my adolescence with none.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Were you guys friends first or bandmates first, do you think?
Travis and I have been friends since we were 13. Like I met him, through a mutual friend who wanted to start a band. So I guess we were bandmates before we even became friends, if that makes any sense. Before we even met, we were going to be in a band. But Travis is like Travis is my brother. I mean, it's so wild how like insane and in sync we are, and how at one point we want to kiss each other, and at another point we want to just strangle each other.
Right.
I mean, it's like, yeah. So we've been friends forever. Josh, I had known because our bands had played together. He was in a different band, and our scenes had crossed paths. And I remember this one story when Josh and I were we were drinking one time after a show. We were in different bands at the time, and we were on the side of a house, urinating or whatever. And I had said to him, and his band, to be honest, had been signed to Universal already. They were off and about to become something. but things had happened. And I had said to him, I said, one day we're going to play in the band together. And he was like, yeah.
33 WMMR.
All right, let's take another crack at this.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you this morning by Lorenzo and Sons Pizza. The iconic Lorenzo and Sons Pizza is a Philadelphia staple locations in Westchester and Xfinity Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit Lorenzo's, Westchester.com. Here is a follow-up story. I've mentioned this twice in the Bizarre File. Here's a third time. The owners of a Colorado Springs funeral home, where 190 bodies were discovered improperly stored and decaying, were arrested yesterday in Oklahoma.
Well, that seems right.
John and Carrie Halford were arrested on suspicion of 4 felonies: abuse of a corpse, theft of money laundering, and forgery. And the forgery could have to deal with death certificates.
Oh, you really need to keep track of those, don't you?
An investigation was launched in October when the sheriff's office responded to a report of a foul odor coming from the Return to Nature funeral home. A state document alleged funeral home owner John Halford tried to conceal the improper storage of corpses. He claimed that he was doing taxidermy at the facility. Halford acknowledged
what a scumbag.
They had a problem at the property, and the document did not elaborate on the taxidermy and alleged improper storage remains, but the facility's registration has been expired since November of 2022. The coroner confirmed 190 bodies were found decaying in the funeral's home facility. They have positively identified 110 individuals, so they have another 80 to go.
So isn't he contending that when he said return to nature, that implied your loved ones would be eaten by rats?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, it was supposed to be like natural burials and stuff like that. So they're now processing dental records, fingerprints, and medical hardware to identify the remaining bodies.
Imagine if you use this facility and you learned this was going on.
Yeah, 25 bodies have been released back to their loved ones, and the coroner's office has 6 teams actively notifying families across the U.S. So far, at least 137 families have been contacted. So they're in jail now.
Yeah.
All right, this is tragic. A 34-year-old woman in the Philippines was crushed by an estimated 1-ton boulder that fell on her as she was trying to find a way to let it fall into a hole so that she could have a level ground to extend her family's house.
So she'd set up a boulder hole.
The plan was to push the boulder into a hole that she and her family had dug so that they could have more level space for the extension of the home. Vigil Cuevas was left alone in the hole and digging at the base of the boulder. The boulder was estimated to be about a ton. Earlier, the mother-in-law of Vigil was told to stop digging because the boulder was already loosened. So she went into the hole anyway and continued digging near the base of the boulder, and then it fell in and killed her. Ta-da!
Yeah,
No,
wow.
That's the end of the story there, but that's messed up, yes. All right, how about this? Something a little bit lighter. A hungry and curious black bear in Florida found himself an unexpected meal last week. It was $45 worth of Taco Bell via Uber Eats, and he did what any bear would seemingly do, took it for himself. And to add insult to injury, the entire food heist was caught on the homeowner's Ring camera.
Oh, geez, I'm going to be crapping fire for a month, but it's so worth it.
The video shows the Uber Eats delivery driver dropping off the food on November 3rd at the home in Orlando. Minutes later, a curious black bear saunters up to the porch, sniffs the bag, and then casually grabs it with its mouth, walks off, and then returns a few moments later to get the soda that was there because he didn't grab that at first.
And in Casey, of course, it looks adorable. And of course, they would rip your head off if you were to catch them in the act, but that's how it goes.
The meal was meant for Lady Gutierrez and Daniel Bula. Their niece, Nicole Castro, said she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw the footage. Said he came, grabbed the food, then he came again, got the soda. Upon opening the door about 10 minutes later, Gutierrez said that she and her daughter knew exactly what had happened. And bears are very common in their neighborhood, but a bear burglar is a first. They posted the video onto social media, so if you want to find it, you certainly can do that.
I'm going to admit that I really was not aware that there was that robust a bear population in Florida.
Yeah, there's apparently a fair amount of them. All right, here's another follow-up story. The former Missouri teacher, and Kathy, listen closely. Former Missouri teacher who made headlines for having an OnlyFans account says that she has made nearly $1 million on the platform since she joined it over the summer.
You've got to do your foot site.
I'm creating mine today.
I'm telling you.
And then, honestly, Preston, if you joined in, you could have foot-on-foot contact. You could both clean up.
How about that? I'll do it.
Yeah.
Brianna Coppage had been a teacher for 5 years, spending the last 2 at St. Clair High School as an English teacher before resigning after her OnlyFans page was discovered by school administrators, and she was put on leave. She noted that her annual teaching salary was $42,000, and she originally started the OnlyFans account to help pay off her student loans. She said Missouri is one of the lowest states in the nation for teacher pay. The district I was working for is also one of the lowest paying districts in the state, and I feel like times are tough. I have student loans, I have multiple degrees in education, and it would be helpful for extra money. On her teaching salary, she would have had to have worked for nearly 24 years to make the same amount of money she has made from OnlyFans in less than 6 months.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
She now has tens of thousands of subscribers and has far exceeded her teaching
Do you need a
salary for the year.
photographer, Kathy?
Tell me, you guys got to help me. What can my page be? Like,
we will get you set up. It'll be no
it's
one
not
will
my
know.
face. It can't be my face.
No, it's going to
You'll
be
never
completely
know it's
anonymous.
me.
It'll be completely, consensual foot stuff.
So foot stuff? Is that what you think I should do?
There needs to be an angle,
No.
like feet and succulents or something like that.
Oh, then people know it's me.
No, that's right. If it's foot's fall activities, people know. Yeah, that'll be the day giveaway. But no, you really
What if I created crafts with my feet?
make it as anonymous as possible, and it would be easy to do.
Here's your Christmas wreath.
They'll line up like crazy. I mean, you're
You don't know what people are into.
it's just selling itself.
I follow this chick. She does the most creative stuff.
Steve, I was talking to a woman who's on OnlyFans, and she said that there's a market for straight white dudes showing off their feet.
Preston.
Really?
I swear to God.
Oh, my feet are so nice.
You get a manicure.
Well, wait a second. Well, we're going to have to do a competition between your feet and Casey's feet.
God. Well, I'd like in on it. I want $1 million.
My
You should do
feet-
it.
Really? You have good feet? My feet are like condo.
Remember, Nick washes his every day when he
Oh,
puts
that's
it
right.
down.
But keep in mind, you guys will be under the amateur category.
No, I know. You're right.
Preston's pro lab.
There's a market
pro.
for that.
Yeah.
There is a market. Yeah,
Not a
without
pro.
question.
Would it be wild if you instantly supplanted?
No, I've got it. So, foot cuck. My feet will just watch Kathy's feet.
You could do that? Yeah.
We could just stand next to each other. and
Yeah,
see what-
that's it. And mine will just stare at your feet
No.
while they do some kind of activity.
Well, the thing is, you never.
Put googly eyes on the
Googly eyes on him. Oh, we got our new fetish.
Do you want to do something at camp out next week?
Hell yes,
All
we
right.
do. Yes,
All right.
yes, for sure.
We'll officially start an OnlyFans site at Camp Out, and we'll get a photographer.
We can contribute the money to Phil Abundance.
Phil Abundance, a
right.
small portion because Kathy has things to pay.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean it's charity, yes, but come on.
Anyway, this gal paid off all her student loans, her car loans, credit card debt, and she says she has no debt now. And that is a freeing feeling. So she has done it in less than 6 months, $1 million.
I can't
That's
wait.
insane. All right, and there you go. That's all we have time for in the Bizarre File this morning. All right, I'm going to give away the last $50 gift card we have for Live Hotel Casino in Philadelphia, along with our friends at Gino's Steaks, as they brought by some wonderful cheesesteaks this morning.
Oh, man.
Gino's is going to be open every day at 5 p.m. during the week and open at noon on the weekends till 10 p.m. You can come enjoy the only stop you need to make for a taste of famous Philly flavors in South Philadelphia, because they get a whole lineup of great Philly stuff at Live Casino
Preston.
Hotel.
Kathy's feet unrolling a cheesesteak.
Steve, I was going to say it. I was going to say I could unwrap the cheesesteak with my
Caller 22
Because
at
I'm going to make $22 million on my OnlyFans page.
215-263-WMMR. Call right now. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Their career was starting, and here we are. So Josh is, Josh, I guess we had been friends, I guess in a band first. I'm not entirely sure how to answer that, but but to be honest, like Josh, just to go off, I play in a band with like some of the greatest musicians. I think they're in my opinion, I think they're very underrated. They don't really get like Josh. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen us play, but he's like one of the worst parts of my job is I don't really get to watch Josh play, because he's just such a animated, beautiful piece of art when he's behind the kit. And, I just think he needs more recognition, as well as Travis. Just very interesting people. And Zach is actually the newest member of the band. I mean, well, when you say that, it's like 10 years, because our original bass player got arrested for robbing a Walgreens. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah. That's better than the gas money story.
We were aware.
No, but it's interesting how, you evolve as a band and how you have to learn how to be around each other in a whole bunch of different settings. You're talking about tour buses, pre-show, on stage, post-show. And, these are things that you just sort of have to, learn about each other. And, you didn't make a vow to one another, on an altar in front of a whole bunch of people, but, you want to make this work because it did work at a certain point. So, the band today is different than the band 5 years ago, is different than the band 10 years ago. And do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I totally know what you mean, because it's nobody really understands what it's like to be locked in a van, right? That's how we came up. It was, 5 guys in a van, well, initially, 5 guys, one, and 4 members. But you start to see personalities and people, you become family, it's like, living with, who you're blood born to be with. Now you're in a band doing that, and the quarters are way smaller.
Yeah.
But, right? So it's and you start to see these parts of people manifest, myself included, that it's wow, you really, really get to know people in a way that you don't with others. And, now we're lucky. This life has afforded us the opportunity for the luxuries of buses and, hotel rooms and things like that. And, 20 years into it, we all really have come to love what we do. Whereas through that 20-year stretch, there may have been times where we really disliked it. Right. And not the artistic part, but just the living, but for the most part, every day it feels like somebody talks about how excited and how grateful we are to be out here.
Wow. That's great.
It's such a it's an awesome place to be, man. And your fans are loving that you guys are having the success you are, and you're coming to town, and people have been stoked about the release of this album. So it's really cool. And judging by just glancing over our text messages, you got a bunch of new fans from sitting down and talking with us too, which is great.
Oh,
so,
sick.
I love it. So the Leah Chorus Center, July 27th, and tickets are available tomorrow at 10 a.m. CoheedandCambria.com. The new album, Vaxis 2, A Window of the Waking Mind. Make sure you get that. We've been playing some songs from the album, and we're just excited. Thanks so much for coming on this morning, Claudio, and continued success to you and the band, brother.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. This was awesome. I had a really good time.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Claudio Sanchez, guys, of Coheed and Cambria, and they're the real deal, man. Their body of work is dense. It is just, it's fun. And by that, I just don't mean by heavy in the music. There's a lot in the story.
Well, this is everything that, again, when we were getting concept albums, you were getting thematic albums and all that stuff, and you'd be in that world. This speaks to exactly that. So I'm going to start moving through the music, because I really like what I've been hearing.
Yeah. Yep.
And I love the whole concept of this thing that is the band.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And Press, I almost opened up a whole new door of conversation there, because when we was talking about being locked in a van with people, and I just kept thinking about the book that you turned me on to, Project
Hail Mary.
Oh, Hail Mary, yeah.
Where they're in space, and they put these astronauts into suspended animation, and it's not because they don't want them to age. It's because if they had them in a spaceship for as long as they did, they would murder each other.
Yeah.
That's a legit thing. And so when you have these bands that are just on tour, and they're on tour for the rest of, this month and through March, and then all through the summer, when you're locked in a room with people, just think about how much you guys want to kill me after 5 hours of being in the studio, and then times that by 1,000.
Throw you on a bus with us. All right. We love you, though, man. We're intrigued by our next guest creation, so much so that we had to do it on our own, yet we don't have facilities to cook in. So Pagano's is a new restaurant that opened up in our building. We've been restaurant-less.
It's been a nightmare.
For 2 years until last week, so that was nice. And as soon as they move into the building, we asked them to do something for us, and they did.
We had to test it out.
And they took a bag of potato chips, actually a few different bags of potato chips, and made mashed potatoes out of them. And we got inspiration from our next guest to do that. And you know what? We gave it, it was interesting and tasty.
I liked it.
In its own way. But our next guest is actually coming to, and I assume we are interrupting his vacation because he's in Cancun, Mexico right now. You know him from his YouTube channel. Please welcome Sam, the cooking guy.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. How you guys doing?
Wonderful, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, but let me start by saying interesting is generally not how I hope my recipes are viewed when people make them.
All right.
You know?
Well, no, listen, here's the deal. I enjoyed the flavor of the potato mashed potatoes. The consistency was a bit interesting. It was very, I know it's potatoes, but it was like even more starchy and stickier than regular mashed potatoes, I thought.
Look, I cannot help with some. This is like eighth hand reviewing here.
Right.
My recipe goes to you guys. You guys don't even make it. You put it in the hands of a brand new restaurant. We have no idea if they can even cook.
It's true.
And now suddenly I'm being rated by this. I don't want the audience to take this one example as
All right. Fair enough. And you have plenty of great examples on your,
Yes, we
YouTube
do,
channel.
we do.
So
Yeah.
Hey, number one, why are you what's going on in Cancun? What are you doing there?
Oh, just a vacation with my wife and two sister-in-laws and a husband. We tried to put together for a while now, and it's just gotten derailed for one reason or another. So just a little break because the weather in San Diego is probably 65 or 70 today, and who wants that? That's freezing. So we've come down here.
Yeah, where it's warmer. I can't believe you're checking in from your vacation. We appreciate that. That's really
look,
cool.
you guys reached out. I saw the comment on Twitter. You reached out, and I was honored. I'm always happy to chat with new friends.
Awesome.
And I hope that you call on me from time to time when you want to berate one of my recipes.
Certainly.
Well, I think he's reading it wrong. We approve.
Yeah, it was.
I in particular thought not to go off on this too much, but taking potato chip flavors that you liked. I forget the one that was really a home run. No, listen. I want mashed potatoes made from potato chips to retain some of the potato chip flavor, and they did.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Look, years ago, before YouTube, I had a TV show in San Diego for a whole bunch of years, and we shot a show once that was based around mashed potatoes, and then we did certain things to them in one of the segments. And the person behind the camera never knew what my plan was until I started. And I said, okay, today we're going to start everything with these. And I reached into the pantry and I pulled out those dehydrated mashed potatoes that you guys talked about when you first discussed this. And she stopped the shooting and she went, you're effing kidding me. And I went, no, I'm not. I go, they're potatoes, just in a slightly different form. Look, dried porcini mushrooms are one of the great finds in the world. You rehydrate those and they're glorious.
Yeah.
A potato dehydrate. Come on, it's not the most sophisticated thing to start with. So what's the big effing deal?
Right. No, you're right.
Yes.
Hey, listen, real quick, Sam, you'd mentioned today it's going to be mild. We're going to have clouds mainly to contend with for today, although breaking up a little bit later on. High of about 68, though. Pretty damn nice. Clouds tomorrow, cooler, 52 the high, and Saturday, mostly sunny, 56 degrees. Cooling off again on Saturday. Monday, Camp Out for Hunger starts 52 degrees, sunshine, food trucks, and fireworks that evening, courtesy of Five Below and Celebration Fireworks doing the big performance with not only fireworks, but now a drone show added to it.
It's so awesome.
Drone show starts at 7:30, fireworks at 8 o'clock. FM band is going on stage at Xfinity Live outside around 6 o'clock.
With a guest musician.
I'm going to be playing a couple of songs with them, and they'll do about an hour and a half set, and they're awesome. You have to hear the people that sing in this band. I mean, we know how great of a singer Kyle is. Yeah. But the other three ladies that sing in that band are incredible. So I'm looking forward to playing with them.
Excellent.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously we have lots of food. We have the list of food trucks available. Philly Hots, Hababall, Korea Taqueria, Molto Bene Alveole Company, Grilly Cheese, the Tot Rod, Philly Pretzel. There's a whole bunch of them. And we'd like you to come down, eat, drink. There's Xfinity is going to have beverages available for sale, and witness the performance and come and make a donation.
That's it. That's all we ask. That is your price for admission, a food donation, and then everything is up to you.
Yep. All right, so we're going to do the lesson question. We are going to give away a 4-pack of tickets for the Tinseltown Holiday Spectacular, which is going to be at FDR Park, right around the corner from where we're doing the Camp Out for Hunger. And the question I'll pose to you is, we were talking about the United States, the USS United States, the ship. It's moving to New York. But before that, where is it appearing this weekend? 215-263-WMMR. They're proposing to move it to New York.
But it's we're going to buy it, like we want to do a fire truck. We're going to have an ocean liner. And where's it appearing this weekend? 215-263-WMMR. Call if you know the answer. We'll do the trash white call.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
All right, it's brought to you by Horizon Services. Easy to buy a new home comfort system with Horizon's Fall Into Savings event. You can get up to $1,500 back on qualifying systems and up to 20% off select new system installs. Visit horizonservices.com. What's up this morning, Steve?
Well, actress Lily James seen sporting what appeared to be an engagement ring while out in London with musician boyfriend Michael Schumann. James had hinted that she might be getting engaged to a mystery man and then followed through with someone no one knows.
Oh, my God.
And The View co-host, 51-year-old Anna Navarro, raising eyebrows on Instagram, saying she had a crush on 29-year-old singer Maluma, is that how it's pronounced, and wants to breastfeed him. Maluma said he would pass on the breastfeeding, but did say he would be interested in the, quote, pulled pork between her legs. And finally, Charlie Sheen is giving his blessing. It's going to be of interest to you, Kathy, to his 19-year-old daughter, Sammy Sheen, having an OnlyFans account, saying he's impressed by her earnings. Sheen apparently told her the last thing you want to do is something that will embarrass you, and then he exploded. That's your Hollywood Trash.
All right, let's see if someone heard where the USS United States will be appearing this weekend. And we will go to Craig to see if we can get the answer. Craig, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to see you, Craig. Where will the USS or the USS United States be appearing this weekend?
At the McDade Bowl.
McDade Bowl. We're going to give Craig a 4-pack of tickets for Tinseltown Holiday Spectacular coming to South Philly's FDR Park, and that's this winter. Visitors of all ages are going to feel the magic of the holiday season as they stroll through a spectacle of lights, dine on festive treats and beverages, meet Santa Claus, and so much more. Tickets are on sale now at tinseltownholiday.com. Use the code WMMR20 and you get 20% off.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, buddies.
Regular Saturday night thing, baby.
Brought to you by Dietz and Watson. Whether you are craving smoky, spicy, or sweet, Dietz and Watson has what you need to create the perfect sandwich. Dietz and Watson, it's a family thing, premium meats and artisan cheeses since 1939. Coming out tomorrow are remixed and expanded editions of the famed Beatles compilations 1962 to 1966 and 1967 to 1970, a.k.a. the Red Album and the Blue Album.
God, I played the crap out of those things.
Yeah, they were greatest hits albums, and they were wonderful. They follow last week's release of Now and Then, the final Beatles song made from John Lennon's home demo from the late 1970s, and was considered for the Beatles anthology back in 1995, and finally finished thanks to new technology developed by Peter Jackson for the Get Back docuseries. Giles Martin, who co-produced the recording, said that Now and Then was what led to the revamped compilations. He said, we did Now and Then, and we had that, and then there was a discussion about what do we do with Now and Then. So from that conversation, we went, well, why don't we just celebrate the Red and Blue albums because it's 50 years of that. And they've got most of the tracks we're talking about anyway. So the delay is this Now and Then coming out. That was the fact that the remixed Red and Blue albums happened. So they came out in April 1973.
Jeez.
The Red album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. The latter, number 1. Both have been... That doesn't
the hell
make
are you
sense.
saying?
I'm sorry, John.
Make some sense.
Both have been certified diamond for sales of more than 15 million and 17 million copies,
It's
respectively.
amazing. He's a DJ.
Yeah. For the new editions, Martin created new mixes for nearly 40 tracks and added 9 songs to each album, with Now and Then as the last track on the Blue album.
That's wild.
I want to ask both you guys kind of a snobby music question, because when it comes to the Beatles, I always felt like greatest hits records were kind of cheating a little bit, only because the original records that those songs appeared on were so phenomenal unto themselves.
They're almost, every one of those albums separate are almost greatest hits albums.
I kind of avoided that just because of some weird stigma in my own brain. It's I don't know.
Fight you.
But does that make sense, that thought process?
It does.
But I tell you what, a great album. What's a great album is One.
Yes, and it was given to me as a gift, and I love it, and I listen to it all the time. I like the sequence of the songs on the record so
I agree.
much that
Here's
what was. I'm sorry to interrupt, Steve. What was great about one for me was for my kids. It was a shortcut to the best stuff, to the number one hits that the Beatles had.
Listen,
and they didn't have to sit through Revolution Number 9 and Piggies and songs that are a little bit weird, or and this opened the door to the Beatles for them. I thought.
I got you.
There's a case to be made with the Eagles, the band. The greatest hits album is a great album,
right?
Unto itself.
Yes.
So in this case, I think the Red. I played those. In fact, I would say I went through probably 2 or 3. I purchased those both at least 2 times, because I wore them out so much.
I listened to the White Album so many times, but I don't listen to the second CD or the third and fourth records on that album as much as I listened to the first 2. So, and it's probably just because.
I want to fight you.
From my perspective, there weren't as many good songs on.
I want to fight you.
On the second half of that.
No,
record.
I think there's nuance to that. And I think you're right. I mean, there are worse problems to have than having so many damn classic great songs that how it's packaged is a point of contention.
Yeah. So anyhow, they're coming out tomorrow, and if you want to dive into that, go right ahead. Nick, I don't know if you saw this. You're the biggest baseball fan here.
I want to fight you.
No, you don't want to fight me. Geddy Lee has one of the most impressive collections of baseball memorabilia. There was a story about him last year that we mentioned where he had hundreds of baseball signed by the Negro League players that had since kind of gone forgotten, and he donated them. It's in Kansas City. He donated them to the Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame, and they were just blown away by what he had as far as baseball goes. He has some of the most impressive stuff, and he is putting a bunch of it up for auction. Wow. So it includes balls and bats signed by some of the game's most renowned figures: Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Cal Ripken, Albert Pujols, a lot. And so he is putting up some 300 items for sale in a live auction. He's been collecting this for 40 years. The auction is titled Selections from the Geddy Lee Collection of Important Baseball Memorabilia. Christie's is going to have it out on December 6th.
We're looking at a picture of him sitting, I guess, in a room, a part of his collection.
Yeah.
I hear there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
One of the baseballs, speaking of the Beatles, is a signed Beatles baseball from Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
You know what he does not have, though, is a Doc Gooden, Nick. And I know that you have one that you had signed at a Hampton Inn.
He's going to be in town next week. I'll bring my Doc Gooden signed rookie baseball card to camp out if he makes an appearance.
Can I have the Babe Ruth? Yeah.
So he said in a quote, baseballs, he said, nobody owns them. He said, they're like houses. You take care of them for a while, and then they move on to the next person, the next custodian. The final out ball from each of Johnny Vandermeer's back-to-back no-hitters.
Yeah.
A ball signed by 26 of the 33 members of the 3,000 Hit Club, from Ty Cobb to Miguel Cabrera, are among the many unique items in the auction.
Jeez.
His collection also intersects with American history outside of the realm of sports. There is a baseball signed by Neil Armstrong. The auction features numerous baseballs signed by presidents, including John F. Kennedy, Harry Truman, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Barack Obama, and some of the balls were used in
Thomas Jefferson?
First pitch ceremonies. No Jefferson ball.
DJ.
But as Nick mentioned, the Beatles signed ball from 1965 at Shea Stadium is expected to be one of the pricier items in the auctions, estimated to sell for up to $300,000.
Oh, it is December 7th, which is a sad day. I had the thrill of signing a baseball for Geddy Lee.
Geddy said, the items I collected over these years, I collected with passion, I collected with love, and I just have...
It's the time of your life. The biggest baseball collection on earth has come into town with Geddy Lee. He hasn't been born yet, so prepare to look at a zygote. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Does he play? Is he just simply a fan?
So he got started because they were touring, and they would have these late nights after gigs, and Rush was like, they weren't a hard partying band or anything like that. And in cities, and I think it got started in Chicago, he would hear the rebroadcast of Cubs games because the The game would run live.
Yeah.
And then overnight, they would rerun the broadcast. And he just got caught up in it.
That
and
is
he just
wild.
became a fan. And then, he was a fan of the Cubs. And then he just became a fan of baseball in general.
That's how I got into pornography.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Okay.
listen to the porno broadcast late at night on my ham radio.
They would rebroadcast those. I did not know that.
From across the Canadian border.
Yeah, that was your regular Saturday night thing.
That felt
if I
good, eh?
recall. Yeah, so.
Did you like that handy, eh?
So Lee said, the items I collected over these years, I collected with passion, I collected with love, and it's just too much, and it is time to share with the world again. So
There is
put them up for sale.
a singular joy to having something that you collect and you find these, that is part of the process. And he is also apparently a massive wine aficionado.
Oh, yeah, that's his other passion. It's bases, baseball, and wine. Those are his three
That's
things.
you, Kathy.
And he'll be in town next week. He is I think he's at the Met, right?
Yeah, on Wednesday or Thursday.
God.
At Wednesday night, yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing a conversation about his new book called My Effin' Life, and we're trying desperately to get him to come by Camp Out for Hunger. I doubt it's going to happen, but it would be amazing.
If we did Quizzo categories based on either bases, baseball, or wine.
And Rush.
Maybe we could invite him down.
He'd be a shoo-in.
I'll be right there.
Speaking of Camp Out for Hunger, we had these guys perform live, Living Color. Corey Glover revealed that the band is scheduled to be back in the studio next week. He said, I've met a bunch of songwriters. It's time for us to sort of put it all together and start working on it. So we're going to go in next week and see what we have.
It's amazing to think that Danny Glover is his mother.
He's not. He's not related to Danny Glover at all.
Oh, no.
According to Glover, new music could be out sometime next year. He said that would be the plan. I can't give you a date exactly, and more than likely we'll try to put out some sort of single first and go from there. He went on to say the Opes continue working on it while they are touring in Europe with Extreme. And then one last story. Iron Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson set to star in a new horror movie called Bjorn of the Dead. Listen to this concept.
I like it already.
The film was written by his son, Austin Dickinson, and it centers around an ABBA tribute band who find themselves, along with other tribute acts, trapped in a nightclub at the start of the apocalypse. And it is described as a blood-drenched gore fest.
Just, throw your all into it, and I'm on board.
And according to Deadline, the movie will have various cameos from the world of rock and heavy metal. No mention of when it will be released, but it's called Bjorn of the Dead.
Excellent.
All right. That's it, Music News. Let's take a break. We will return with a letter of the day for the Word of the Week prize. Wrap up the show. Hand it over to Pierre. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. And I'm new to your YouTube channel, and I can't wait to delve in and find out more about it.
Thank you,
not knowing much about you, I pick up a little bit of a Canadian pronunciation. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Vancouver, Canada, West Coast, prettiest part of the country, we think.
Stunning. Both Steve and I have been there. It's just amazingly beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's not just beautiful, but it's a really cool city. It's got an amazing vibe. It's got a huge Asian population. It's got British influence from the old days. There's a touch of French. They all go together. They make great food, interesting people.
And you guys got ahead on the marijuana thing way in advance of everybody else. That was pretty awesome.
Way in advance. Look, I was pushing for that as a 16-year-old boy living in that city, and they just they didn't listen to me then. It took them a while. I'd like to think I was the forerunner in that whole process.
So learning more about what you do. I was watching a recipe this morning. It was from one of your newer videos, which was Italian fried rice. I make fried rice at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week.
Yeah.
It's a family recipe. It's really simple. It's nothing special, but it's something that I just love to do. And you've taken it in another direction. Is that, in a sense, what you like to do with most of your videos, is taking food into a new direction?
It is. I mean, sometimes we make fairly straight ahead things. We made mushroom risotto a couple weeks ago. Nothing amazing about the recipe. It's really delicious, but sometimes the goal is really show people that they can make things often that they don't think that they can make, that they're complicated. So I think we found a really interesting niche. When cooking channels are on YouTube, they're generally one of two types: all kitchen based, sandwiches and salads and breads and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Or they're sort of all outdoor barbecue based, like smoking and grilling and sort of the typically like caveman.
Right. You're right.
And we've mixed the two really nicely. We do almost all of our cooking outside. I'd say 97% is outside, but things outside that then maybe need to go into the oven. We'll make a lasagna that you wouldn't normally make outside. But we like our outside. It's my home. We like the outside set. It looks better. The lighting's better. And you don't need to see me really put something in the oven. If I make a lasagna and they go, this needs to bake for 10 minutes, why do I have to turn around and put it in a stupid oven?
Right.
I really don't. So we do the grilling where we're part live fire show, smoking, grilling, charcoal, Santa Maria style grills, that. And then we're also the side that does make the lasagna, the risottos, that kind of thing. We like to do across the board, so there's a little bit for everybody.
Well, you've got millions of subscribers, and there are loads of people doing different types of cooking on YouTube and other channels and here and there, and they always try to go after some kind of a hook, something that grabs you. And I was surprised, and I appreciated the fact that your presentation, or at least in the production, is very simple. It's very straight ahead. There's there's no magic editing, no little music, graphics and stuff. You keep it pretty simple and straight ahead, which is why I was kind of surprised you have the amount of people that subscribe, because I thought maybe there'd be more of a hook. But no, I'm assuming what it comes down to is you're just making good food.
It's an interesting sort of half compliment and half negative compliment. You know, your show is really basic. It's like a third grader can do it. And now I'm surprised that you have almost 3.5 million subscribers.
I had a feeling you might take it like that.
So look, we've been on YouTube since 2011. And in 2018, we had 30,000 subscribers, middle of 2018. From the middle of 2018 to the middle of 2019, we went from 30,000 to 1 million. And then the next year, another million. The next year, another million.
Wow.
And I think what we do, you're right, there is nothing fancy. I do think, though, the technical work, the editing is beautiful. The work for our channel is as beautiful as any TV I've ever done, for a start. It is simple, but I think my goal is that people walk away with a good understanding. So there's more talking in ours, I think, than many of them. Many of them it's like 1 cup, 2 cups, stir, mix, pour, bake, that kind of thing. I'll say, do this. And if you don't have this, let me tell you a workaround for it, or here's why I like to do this. I feel like I'm a teacher. It seems silly at times, but I do feel like I'm a bit of a teacher, and I really want people to walk away saying, almost swore.
It's all good.
I really want people to know that this is how they can do this. I had an idea in 2001 to start a travel show on TV. And the basis of it was show people that they could go to places they thought were complicated. And it wasn't, they could do it. Don't go to North Dakota again this summer. Try someplace you've never been or you've been scared of. Maybe go to Hong Kong or Tokyo or something like that. And, in 2001, sadly, 9/11 happened. Changed stuff for me. But I decided to find something else I thought I could do on TV that I could also help people learn so that they could go, oh, I can do this. And I came across, literally within a week and a half of the 9/11, I came across a cooking segment on a local channel here in San Diego. The guy was making a butternut squash soup. It was September, it was fall, it was a perfect thing to do. It was the most boring, complicated recipe I've ever seen. And as I watched that, I went, holy yes, somebody should make that better. And I went, damn it, I have nothing to do. I will try and make that better. My wife came home from work. I said, I'm going to start a cooking show instead of a travel one. She goes, I think that's a great idea. Just one thing, honey. I go, what? She goes, you just can't cook. I go, but see, here's the genius. I'll make things so easy, people will say I can do that.
No,
I'll be my own weakest link.
That makes complete sense, because I'll tell you what, as YouTube has grown over the years, and I remember clearly when the one video of the guy at the zoo that was the only available, and now we have, and we talk about it often, as a teaching device.
Yes.
Okay, I'm fixing this thing in my house. You can find somebody doing that, doing it with the tools specifically that you're using in the specific. Yeah. And so I was just raging about what you just said a few minutes ago. I don't need all the production. I need someone to talk to me And the way you're saying about giving is sort of a lesson on how to do it. It drives me crazy when they try to get too cute with the information imparting, and I'm there and I got the tools out or whatever. I'm like, just show me. Just tell
Show me how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think, a lot of people that cook in the culinary space on YouTube, a lot of them are credentialed in the sense they've been to culinary school, that kind of stuff. And I have none of that. I've never taken a cooking class. I've never been to culinary school. And I think that benefits me in the sense that I don't lean on that chef terminology, the chef technique, that kind of stuff. I'll say things that regular everyday people would say, and it resonates with them and they can make it. And yes, I swear a lot. I'm sort of not normal that way. I was on a radio program live from Calgary a few months ago. And in the middle of the thing, the guy said the S word. And suddenly I went, oh my God, he's going to get in such trouble. And I went, oh no, it's Canada. They understand that that's not a word that's going to start a war.
Right.
No parents are going to write in about that. Yeah.
So Sam, with your lack of culinary experience going into this, you're now a restaurateur, right? I mean, so you own 3 restaurants?
I have 3 restaurants. Here's the important part of that, Preston. I have 3 restaurants with partners, and they came to me and they said, look, we're fans, but we like what you do. Here's what we do. Do we think we could put that together? And I said, yes, but I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be on the line in the back every day. I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
When we run out of tomatoes, I'm not the guy to get them.
Right.
When Susie calls in sick, I'm not the guy that has to stand up, jump in on the line again that day. I say I have the best restaurant job in the business. I get to be the inspiration, the face, the brand, the food, the recipes. And they do their part and I do mine. And it's been a good relationship so far.
There are so many business ventures that I wanted to get into where I'm like, can I not be the person that has to do all the stuff and just kind of give you guys some ideas or something like that?
Yeah,
I've never found any takers on that.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, Preston, but it's a great relationship. And I know you're kidding, but it's a business that I said forever I would not go into on my own because here's what I know. I know I don't know the restaurant business. And even though I have a successful YouTube following and, of course, a great following.
Thursday morning, it is officially now turned into No Sad Bro Friday.
Yes, it has.
I love that we have allowed ourselves to believe that at the end of our show on Thursday.
Because it's true.
That it is now Friday. And therefore, we can go forward in our Friday mode. But it's been a fun day today.
It has.
And the weather's cooperating. It's going to be, 68 degrees. So very, very comfortable. Cooler the next few days. Just a heads up on that. But should be enjoyable for the rest of your day. And I would like to thank our guest, Joe DeRosa.
Hey!
Joe DeRosa is playing the TLA on Saturday. It's a dream he's had for a long, 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 long time. And it's finally coming true. So if you get a chance to go see him, please do so. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Thank you to Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia and Gino's Steaks for dropping off the goodies this morning. And obviously somebody got up super early to make those cheesesteaks for us. So we do appreciate it because they were warm when they got here.
They were.
And that makes it much more special. So we enjoyed that too. And thank you to everybody for calling in and everything that took place on the program today. Pierre has made his way in. He's making his coffee, applying the cream as we speak.
Yep.
And I have this new stirring device.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, one of those frothers.
It's a frother.
They're excellent.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like a vibrator.
It does.
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
You just attach the frothing.
Coffee and stirs it up real nice.
Yeah, and it puts a head on it if you want.
Oh,
Did you know that?
You can foam it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can even use those if you're mixing up like a little bit of a smoothie action. So they have more powerful ones that do that. You don't want to turn your drink into a smoothie.
Do a vampire.
You going to do that on your show all day today?
We will have the sounds of frothing today.
I loved the Bruce block and the sax block yesterday. It was fantastic radio. It was so much fun to listen to.
Thank you. That was fun. Thematic blocks are fun. Life is fun.
Life is fun.
Life is fun.
I mean, that's what Jesus said.
That's on a shirt from this day forth.
Life is fun.
Life is fun.
Life is fun.
Go F yourself.
So there was this thing that goes.
I know it well.
No, it was like no. Be nice to people. You don't know what pain each person might be going through. ... Nice turn signal, asswipe.
One of the great angers is somebody who does not know how to use their turn signal.
Oh, there's a new a-hole on the Schuylkill in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, it's he reminds me of the truck driver, except he drives like a it almost looks like some sort of transportation bus. But my guess is there's nobody in it at that time, and that's why he's driving that way.
Right.
Like it looks like he's picking like senior citizens up to go to their doctor's appointments.
Shut up back there.
Or like taking them for a trip to AC, and
Yeah.
he basically drives like the truck driver. He weaves in and out. He
Just
gets
flies.
right in front of me. Yes, slams on the brakes. Yeah,
Wait a minute. You see him every day?
I do.
How do you see somebody every
Same time.
day?
Yeah.
I get
Same
on
schedule.
Yeah, get on
we
the
all
school
do.
at
we
the
all-
same time.
People that have the same schedule for when we're on the road. There's not that many people on the road,
Right.
and it's really easy to pick out the regulars that have the same schedule as you. I see groups of the same cars all the time, every day.
I stop in Wawa down on Belmont. The same people in that Wawa every morning, right around the same time. Yeah, there's like an interesting little community, and sometimes that community is filled with bad drivers and a-hole drivers.
When I was my brief nightmarish time during the morning show back in the 90s, I was speeding quite excessively on the Schuylkill, yes, and I got pulled over by a state trooper. And I rolled down the window. I said, "What seems to be the trouble, officer?" Knowing full well I'm in violation of massive amounts of speeding laws. And he looks at me and goes, "Are you the guy on the billboard? They had the flying hair billboard at the time." I go, "Yes, sir, indeed I am. Would you like a request this morning?"
Or how about a $20 bill?
Hey, what music do you like? And I don't remember. He goes, "Get out of here."
Get out of here. All right. Let's do the letter, if you will.
Sure.
Here we go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
And the Preston and Steve Show, brought to you today by the letter.
O as in odor.
All right, and we'll do one more letter tomorrow and give away the $500 prize from the Bagster.
The Bagster.
The Bagster is by far the most convenient and affordable way to help with your home cleanup. Go buy it at any home improvement store, fill it, and simply schedule your collection, and it is gone. You can clean it up with the Bagster, a dumpster in the bag. So what sorts of goings on today?
Well, it'll all be in the bag today.
18 stones in the bag.
I am 18 stone. You remember that, do you?
I do. That was one of my favorite moments.
One of my bright ones. If you got it, you got it. You know, let's just face it, okay? Stand back, everyone, because I have it. All right. What I have, though, on the program will be tickets for Green Day. That Green Day show in 10 years from now that goes on sale tomorrow. And then I've got tickets. I mean, I don't have tickets because they're not together anymore. Half of them are dead. But the Ramones, I do have a block of the Ramones, and it'll be Very Alive, and a block of Shinedown, and a block of Billy Joel. All right.
Very cool. All right. Thank you, Pierre. And let me thank our sponsors. The Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by Dunkin'. The Preston and Steve Show runs on Dunkin'. And also brought to you by Monster Mania 57, November 10th to the 12th in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Tickets are on sale now. We got a jam-packed show tomorrow. No Sabro Friday in that it is. We will have Alonzo Bodden in the studio.
Awesome.
We'll have composer Laura Karpman via Zoom, and she is promoting Marvels. She did the soundtrack for that, the actual composition of the soundtrack. Like our, she's friends with Michael Giacchino. She's going to be on the program, and getting set for Camp Out for Hunger and Quizzo Night to answer all the questions you might have about the event. Johnny Good Times.
Yeah.
Which is perfect because we're playing the end music from Good Times. The TV show.
Oh, that's right. Good times every time you meet a baby.
Oh, this is from the Jeffersons. Is that how the Jeffersons ended? Yeah. I had forgotten about that. I always thought it was Good Times. All right. Well, anyhow, that's it.
It'll be Johnny Jefferson.
Johnny Jeffersons will be joining us tomorrow. All right, that's it. We're done. Rage on. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, gang. Bye-bye.